Hello, hello, lovely people of the internet. Tis I, Ophelia Hartwig, aka Red. I am here, and I'm going to put on some background music that's not the. Ooh, that might be too much. Is that too much? Oh, it looks like you guys can't even hear it. Okay. Well, I won't bother then. Sorry, I'm a little out of practice getting the stream going, but oh, there we go. I'm gonna turn it down though, so you guys can barely hear it, just because it's a little much. Hey, small girl Laura. So yeah, it's been a while since I've been on, but I'm not really gonna get into why and everything. I've just had like a lot of stuff going on in my life. My 17-year-old dog passed away, and just like other stuff. But yeah, I've got actually like a whole bunch of things that I want to like talk about. Yeah. She was 17, so like, and we kind of knew that it was coming for a while. It was just kind of tough there at the end, but um, it was it was time, and yeah. Anyway, I got like so many things to talk about today. Um, I'm actually not doing any crafting today, just chatting. There's actually this thing that I've been kind of wanting to talk about for a while, and it's just been like kind of building up and building up, and then I actually want to like watch a video relating to it, um, which is like this whole thing with Jimmy Snow. If you're not familiar, he's a YouTuber, aka Mr. Atheist. Um, but yeah, there's like a whole context and everything that I need to like discuss and everything before I get into it. So this might be just like not the longest stream, but it's going to be like a kind of info heavy stream, I guess. So if you're not familiar, like I literally have just like pages of notes that hopefully I'm going to get to. Um, yeah, this is actually, he's a YouTuber that I used to, well, I'm full disclosure, still am a Patreon supporter of, because I didn't like remove my Patreon support. It's literally like $1. Um, but yeah. Uh, but I didn't remove my Patreon support yet this month. I'm going to be doing it later today. And I just like, there's like so much like kind of emotion around it that like I was like, you know what, I just need to get on stream and talk about this. For those of you who don't know, I used to have a YouTube channel. Um, it wasn't as chill of an environment as over here on YouTube or on Twitch, so that's kind of like why I made the transition. I used to do like live feeds over there. Um, but yeah, that's kind of one of the things that I used to talk about, was like basically calling out creators that are creators that I like in a lot of ways, that I think are worthy of seeing change in them, and then like maybe kind of like pointing out some of the things that I would like to see them change. So this is not like to bash Jimmy by any means. There's just some things that I think that he needs to address, and until he addresses them, I'm going to be removing my own personal Patreon support. So that's kind of basically the context of that, as far as like where I'm coming from as a like creator, streamer, whatever. Like I'm not obviously like on any level where, I'm drawing the types of views or anything like they are, but or like he is, and these other two YouTubers that I'm going to be talking about. But I think I might be clipping some of this stream together just to like make a YouTube video that I can upload on YouTube. So we'll see. Like I said, I've got a lot to discuss, so it's probably going to be like a lot that I clip out. But for context, there's going to be like three people that I'm going to be talking about, three different YouTubers. The first one being Gabby Hanna. If you're not familiar with Gabby Hanna, there's like so much problematic behavior in her past that I really don't have time to get into. But basically, for the context of today, what you need to know is that she has written 2 books in the past of poetry. She also does, I think, like a lot of like musical performance. I actually don't follow Gabby Hanna. I think she started out as a Vine creator and then kind of transitioned over to YouTube when Vine shut down. And then she does like kind of like some lifestyle content and music content, as well as, like I said, she put out 2 books. The first one I believe was called Adultolescence, and the second one called Dandelion. I think that's right, but don't like quote me on that. The other YouTube, now keep in mind she is a problematic creator for like so many things that I'm like not going to get into, as far as just like kind of like blaming her bad behavior on mental health issues and some like rape apology type things that, like, again, she deserves like her own separate stream to like talk about that stuff, but I don't necessarily feel like she is a creator that is going to change anytime in the future. You know what? Maybe hopefully she will make some positive changes, get some therapy. You know what I mean? I don't ever want to like discount anybody and count them out, but she's just definitely not somebody that I can like see changing anytime really soon. Whereas Jimmy, I feel like, is somebody whose heart is in the right place. It's just sometimes his actions are a little bit problematic. Rachel Oates is another creator that I'm going to be discussing a little bit in this. Just like to tell you kind of the whole background of everything. She is another YouTuber who she does reviews of YouTuber books. For instance, I think she did the Girl Defined book. I think it's literally called Girl Defined. And then I think maybe Paul and Morgan put out a YouTube book that, or put out a book. They're 2 YouTubers. They put out a book that she reviewed on YouTube. I'm not really sure. I know I've seen some of her stuff where she actually does like just like literal like literature stuff. So she does like where she talks about like the original versions of popular fairy tales, and she like goes back to like what was the first, you know, original version of this, which I personally really like those videos. She is an atheist and does do some more like atheist centric type content, which is also what Jimmy Snow started out as. In particular, he started out as, I believe his original channel was called Mr. Atheist. That was when I had originally started following him, was when he was called Mr. Atheist. He's since then transitioned and is now going by Jimmy Snow, which he did kind of like go by the Jimmy Snow persona. He just ended up changing his channel name to just Jimmy Snow. He does more like political stuff now, not just in particular atheist content, although he does still like talk about Girl Defined, Paul and Morgan. Also, other creators though, I know Classically Abby was one that he did a video about, and he does still do that like Mr. Atheist type content, but he's also doing, I think it's called the Sometimes Show that he does, which is like kind of like late night style content. But it's kind of like with a political twist, kind of like that Trevor Noah type style. He originally started doing the Sometimes Show. I'm kind of jumping around a little bit here in my notes. Oh, I was gonna get a picture for this one, but that's okay. He originally started the Sometimes Show. I guess it's been a while back. It's been several months ago, and since then he has kind of, I've seen this sort of progression of sort of negging his viewers, his followers in the community tab, just saying like, hey, why haven't you guys, watched the Sometimes Show? Trust me, it's good. Check it out, blah, 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 blah. And I felt like it was kind of like pushy, and especially early on the Sometimes Show, it wasn't that great. It has gotten better where he's gotten like more familiar doing that, kind of comedic content. He's gotten more comfortable doing it. You guys who have followed me since I had like freaking 15 followers, a lot of you guys, you know that I've been freaking awkward on camera and have slowly gotten better. still not good, but I've slowly gotten better. And he has also done the same. I think he's up to like 50 something episodes now. So he's like kind of starting to get into the swing of things where it's getting better. But, it really, really wasn't for me, especially to start out with. And I kind of, like I said, started to see this turn in the community tab where I felt like he was kind of just addressing things that were, or addressing things in a way that was very aggressive. And I felt like I wasn't the only one in the comments that was just like, hey, like, lay off. Like, I still like your Mystery Atheist content. I just don't necessarily enjoy the Sometimes Show. He did one episode a while back. It was his first one where he had Dom in the episode. And I don't know if he was sick and part of it was pre-recorded. Or I don't remember how it was that like Dom was in the episode. I think it was that he was sick and like Dom either did a segment or like the whole show. I don't remember, and I wish because I actually put a thing here in my notes where I was gonna like go back and like find it on my tablet where I could like grab a screenshot of it and like throw it up on the screen for you guys, but I forgot to do it. But I made a comment, and full disclosure, I am autistic, so sometimes I don't recognize the tone of something that I say, and when I read it back, it did come off like maybe as like a little bit like Dom is better than you. But I meant it as a compliment that I was like, hey, I really liked seeing Dom in this episode. You should do like give him a segment or do more with Dom, because he was saying that like Dom was a writer. You can find Dom on his channel if you go and look here. Let me see. I think if I do this, will this show you? This is his channel. Yeah. And Dom is in a few of these. Let me look really quick. I don't know. He's not done a Dom playlist. Dominic something. I don't know what his full name is. And to be fair, I didn't even really like love Dominic enough to like go follow his channel. Although like at this point, I think I would like to. He seems like a nice guy. I enjoyed his content. I can't find. I mean, I'm sure if I like. Here we go. I don't think this was the video. It's probably an earlier video in which I made a comment where I basically just said, "Hey, I really like seeing Dom. You should have him back more often." And Jimmy replied to my comment. This is like, keep in mind, this is like literally right after the show aired. I'm a follower of his. I got it like a notification and immediately watched it. And I was like, hey, this is really good. You should have Dom on more often. And he replied and called me douchey and told me go follow his channel if you want to see his content. And I was just like, whoa. Easy, dude. But like I said, when I read it back, I was like, okay, maybe I did come off as a little bit bitchy. Maybe. I don't know. Also, my screen name is Red Person, which I realize that a lot of people assume that I am male, whereas like if they heard what I said from like a person who's assigned female, but you know what I mean? It's like whether it's bitchy or not, sometimes like depends on a person's gender or perceived gender. So, you know, maybe that was, I don't know, but basically, I was like, that surprised me. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, Laura. I was like, you called one of your, and here's the other thing is that like, again, I'm a Patreon of his. My username is the same on YouTube as it is on Patreon. So like, it would have taken like, what, 30 seconds to like verify whether or not I was a Patreon member. Like I was watching it like right away. So like, there's a pretty good chance I was, but I was like, okay, interesting. And I just feel like, that so sometimes he does come off as a little bit douchey, but also again I want to recognize that he's also autistic, so sometimes he'll just say stuff that's just like maybe you didn't mean that the way that you said it. So I tried to, for the most part, find. But I was kind of like taken aback by like being told that I was like douchey for like trying to like give feedback, you know. So yeah, I was a little taken aback. But I also just kind of felt like he would talk about like, oh, he's a numbers guy and like the numbers are like really important to him and this, that, and the other. But I feel like, again, this is something that like can easily happen if you're autistic. That he kind of like forgot that there is like, there's people on the other end of like all of those numbers. Literally every one of those digits is a person on the other side of it. Every one of those comments is a person on the other side of it. And I think that like, he maybe gets a little bit wrapped up in it and kind of like forgets that. But I think that's something that is important that we're going to come back to later. Again, I wanted to do pictures of this. I like took pictures on my tablet, and I think I might just do like a little like quick video where I just do screen grabs all together, because I went back to his video and like took like screenshots of like his entire conversation where he like talked about his conversation and then like clipped it down to where like I did like message by message. And this is where it gets a little bit messy as far as context goes. So again, for context, Gabby Hanna is a slightly problematic YouTuber. She wrote 2 books. The first book that she wrote, Rachel Oates, who is a friend of Jimmy's, she did a review of the book, of Gabby Hanna's first book, Adultolescence. In not so many words, Rachel's review was, "This is terrible poetry. My dog could write better poetry than this." She did like go through like a whole like literary review and explained like iambic pentameter and like why this works and why this doesn't work and this type of imagery. Like she did like a full literary review, but she did make a comment that like her dog could write better poetry than this, and actually went on to somewhat jokingly publish a book called Dogolescence, where she had her dog like choose different treats that were associated with different words to like choose different words for the different poems. It was actually kind of a cute idea, but like it was kind of making fun of Gabby Hanna and this comment about that her dog could make better poetry than Gabby Hanna. Gabby Hanna was kind of upset by that initial review. I don't understand what was going on in Gabby's head when she decided her second book, Dandelion, she went ahead and sent a copy to Rachel Oates, which had to be like, it wasn't like, oh, I'm just sending this out to like all of the YouTubers in LA. Gabby lives in LA. Rachel Oates lives in the UK. Like she lives overseas. She had to like pay for international shipping, find Rachel's address, everything to like track her down to send her a book as a YouTuber that does literary reviews of other YouTubers' books, who has done a review of her book before. And to somebody who has like any experience in the literary world, that to me says you're saying, oh, this book is better. Please, Rachel, review this book. You're basically asking for a review, not necessarily a positive review. No reviewer owes you a positive review ever. If you were ever in a situation where like an author felt like you were like, as a reviewer, you felt pressure from an author to review in such a way, like that would be where you would step down. You'd say, this is a conflict of interest. I can't, in my right principles, review this, right? So Rachel goes on to prepare her review for the book, which by most reviewers' standards, it sounds like actually this book is even worse than the first one. I have not read either, so I cannot say my own opinion. I do have a little bit of a literary background, and I have read some of the poems, and both of them, they were not the greatest, but I don't know necessarily if they were like cherry picked as like the worst poems in the book. There was kind of a cool thing that Gabby did where it was like a different ending per book. And there was like 4, 5, maybe 6 different versions of the book that all had like a different last section in the book, which some people said is like a cash grab, that like people had to buy like 4 different copies of the book. It could be. It does sound like kind of a cool thing though at the same time. So like, yeah, okay, whatever. It maybe was like a terrible book. As Rachel is preparing her review for this book, Gabby reaches out to their mutual friend, Jimmy, as Rachel is posting kind of things on Twitter about like, oh, is it possible for poetry to make you like physically ill? That sort of thing. And by all of Jimmy's own accounts, it sounds like Gabby was somewhat manipulative towards him and kind of manipulated him into like feeling sorry for her, that like she's always attacked on, which to be fair, like she does get a lot of hate on the internet. Most of it is warranted. But she does get a lot of hate. And I do feel bad for anybody who's like in the public eye getting that much hate. Like I do get where he's coming from, that he feels bad for her. But at the same time, like, again, you said, Rachel, the book. Anyway, all of this information that I have given you, by the way, could be gleaned from his video where he talks about this situation. This isn't like behind the scenes stuff. This isn't like stuff that he disputes. This is all from his take on it, okay? Gabby seemingly manipulates him into contacting Rachel and saying, hey, you know, this is maybe gonna hurt Gabby's feelings. And in these messages, and that's why I brought up the iPad, and I wish I had the messages. So I'm just going to read like some of them because some of them are more important than others. There's like some back and forth, but also, okay. So he says, Rachel, hi. So I have no expectations, but I thought you would like to know that while I don't think Gabby watches the videos themselves, I know that the reactions people have to your videos about her poetry definitely hits her feelings. I'm not saying do or don't make the videos, but I thought you'd want to know that the human on the other side of it definitely experiences severe negativity because of it. Like, as in he's saying, oh, well, there's a human on the other side of it. Just like, keep in mind that there's a human on the other side. Which again, I feel like is something that he is a little bit like having difficulty himself realizing. So he kind of sends this message with this very manipulative type of wording. And basically, after Rachel has already released her video, says, hey, like, could you like maybe tone it down, like maybe edit your not necessarily saying that, which he did come out and say that he hadn't seen the video at that point, which to me is like, how good of a friend are you that like you don't even know whether or not your friend has released a video about the topic that you're messaging her about her video about, like. But anyway, he kind of, and he does say later on like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize, but like, again, it's this very manipulative type of language where it's like, I'm not saying do or don't make the videos, but I thought you'd want to know that the human on the other side of it definitely experiences severe negativity because of it. Like, you don't think that like when you call somebody a douche in your comments that like they experience negativity because of it. Okay. And then he like, there's more conversation. He says, well, you should know that she's probably one of the most hated people. He says person, but I think he means people on YouTube. And she is my friend. And the instinct I was feeling was similar to the one that I felt for you last year when you were being hurt. Like, how manipulative is that? Which, by the way, if you don't know for context, Rachel Oates was having some mental health issues last year, where I'm not going to get into what happened, but there was a self-harm incident. and she did take a break from the internet, and Jimmy was supportive in that he just said, hey, you know, Rachel is taking a break from the internet. If you want to see a video about it, here is a video that somebody did about it, and I'm not going to talk about it because it may be triggering to some people. Cool. Sorry, I have a little bit of some allergies going on. It was enough for a lot of us to know that there was something going on. Me and a few other people went and like basically kind of did like a daily video of her old videos that we would go and rewatch, so that YouTube would keep her videos in the algorithm and everything, where we just kind of did like a daily vigil where we just, not like a vigil, but like where, you know, while we were doing the dishes or whatever, we would put on one of her videos in the other room, let it play, maybe let it play through a playlist or whatever once a day. Just again, to try and keep her channel active, you know, because she is, you know, like I said, she seems like a great YouTuber. Her heart's in the right place. Whether you're religious or not, doesn't matter to me. If your heart's in the right place, I will try to be supportive of your content. And I do think that her content is worth supporting. Some of her content wasn't like necessarily like my jam when she like tried some different things, but like overall, like I said, I think that her message is a good message. So definitely want to support her in general. Also, as a result of this, Gabby's like fans went and like attacked her Instagram. She had to get her Instagram shut down, like all of this stuff, all of this. Anyway, so that's like all of this background that has happened with Jimmy recently, where there's been like this sort of like paradigm shift in his content. And for those of you who don't know, he was raised Mormon and then sort of left Mormonism. For those of you who don't know, my spouse also was raised Mormon, and shifted away from Mormonism later in life. So there was this post that Jimmy made where basically, if you look at his numbers, which maybe we'll just like pull up his Social Blade here really quick. Give me just a second. Here we go. So he's been dropping like 100K viewers every other day since this. Here. Let me go. It's gonna do this one. Yeah, it will do that one. Sorry, I didn't change on this one. You can see like literally like 100,000 viewers a day. So this video, this Jimmy Exposed Meet Jimmy's Romantic Partner, was streamed on the 3rd. So yeah, as we were dropping thousands and thousands, this is, yeah. So this is kind of what's happening here. Wow, that's interesting. Actually, I want to see. I want to see last 30 days. Oh my gosh, minus 12K in the last 30 days. Even though he's still gotten like over 1,000 views, which I don't know if that's very high for him. I don't remember what happened here. Did he like take a week off or something? But where is his full stats? Like, I want to see this on a graph. Oh, well. But yeah, you can see he's either like holding steady or dropping in subscribers. So like literally a month ago, he was at 400,000. He's at 388,000 now. Because of this whole thing that's going on. So in the midst of this dropping off, he basically releases this thing where he has kind of talked about his partner previously on stream several times and kind of hinted about things in their life. With or without consent. More recently, he did say something that was like, he was like, oh, I'm going to like have to cut this out if my partner doesn't, you know, give consent. But like literally in lives, he has said stuff that was like, did they consent to you saying that about their body? But this kind of made me happy because it was like with consent. He did make this community post kind of teasing it, which like a lot of YouTubers do. I don't have the community post, but it was saying, hey, like I'm going to be releasing this video with my partner. And you can ask them questions if you would like, if you're watching, you know, I've gotten their consent to post this. You can ask them questions. And here's where I'm going to talk about a thing that was like discussed in the comments. Yeah, my vape's not working, whatever. So it was discussed in the comments. One is this queer baiting. This also after the video came out because it was the person that was his partner is a woman. He could have just said my girlfriend. Was this queer baiting that like we're supposed to assume that the person is like non-binary or whatever because he said you can ask them questions, use they, them pronouns. Again, I don't remember what the exact wording was, but it was obviously they, them pronouns, gender neutral pronouns. Here's why I don't think that it is queer baiting. One, Jimmy has come out as pansexual before on stream. So for him to make a community post, it is, hey Rita. So Jimmy has come out as pansexual before. So for him to make a community post where he's talking about his partner, it is up to him to disclose or not disclose their gender, or you know, it's up to him whether or not he wants to disclose what their gender is. And obviously in this case, he didn't necessarily want to do that. Whether that was for clickbait or whatever reason, I couldn't say. But in this instance, he did not want to say. And I can understand that being like, hey, well, you know, people might watch if they don't necessarily know your gender, as they wouldn't watch if they're like, oh, Jimmy just has a girlfriend or whatever, a new girlfriend, which, from like the 5 minutes that I watched, I think actually it's not like a new girlfriend, but it's like a new old girlfriend. I don't necessarily know, but we'll watch that together. But the other reason why I don't think that it's queer baiting is because I think what Jimmy is doing is that he's normalizing the use of gender neutral pronouns, which is something that I am absolutely 100% in favor of, and that is like using they them pronouns, not necessarily Zer, they, them, although I'm not against using those pronouns, but like just using they, them to like describe everyone. If your pronouns aren't important in a given situation, then we don't necessarily need to say your pronouns, right? So for him, he was just saying that it was his partner. To him, as pansexual, it's not important what gender this person is, so he just says they. There was, again, some discussion in the comments if it was like, oh, well, you're like misgendering your girlfriend by calling her they as opposed to her. And like, there's like some confusion about that. So I just wanted to do like a quick little segment right here where I explain something that might be confusing to some people. And I even made a little overlay for it. So I realized after I made this little graphic Venn diagram here, I actually should have had like a little bit of overlap with the little green circle with the he, him, and the she, her. And the other is like Zer, they, them, other pronouns. There are people who use other pronouns as well. I'm not, I didn't want to leave them off of the Venn diagram, and that is why I put them on here, because I don't want to say like, oh, there's only gendered pronouns or they, them. They, them, as you can see by this, is all encompassing, okay? They, them doesn't exclude you from any group. In fact, none of these pronouns technically exclude you from any group. Now, if all three of these were overlapping, I, as a person, would be probably in that like overlapping all three section, because I really don't care what pronouns people use to refer to me. On my YouTube channel, my intro was, hey, I'm Red, I'm a person, you can refer to me by whatever pronouns you feel most comfortable using. And that's really the most important thing for me, is whatever you feel comfortable with. Most people use she, her, because I was assigned female at birth, but it really doesn't bother me. Whatever you want to use is fine with me. Now, I will say, even in that little like purple segment, for instance, my spouse right now kind of falls into that purple segment where she has begun to transition. For those of you who've missed my more recent streams, I briefly talked on my spouse decided to transition. So if you hear me using she, her pronouns instead of he, him pronouns, it's because she has come out as trans and she's beginning to transition. Now, she feels comfortable using she, her pronouns around family and close friends. But when we're out and about, if somebody uses he, him pronouns to refer to her, she's not going to correct them, and she's just going to let it slide. She is assigned male at birth, and she feels like her body still looks very masculine. And if she gets clocked as male, she doesn't feel like that is anything offensive to her. So she doesn't correct anybody, and she doesn't want me to correct anybody. We've had discussions about that where it's, and sometimes it will change by store. For instance, I recently got her an engagement ring, and when we went in to get the engagement ring, she did want me to use she, her pronouns because it was a very girly engagement ring that we decided to pick out for her. But there are people who fall into these sort of gray areas. And again, I'm somebody who, I don't care what pronouns you use. Use whatever pronouns you want. It doesn't bother me any way whatsoever. But then there are people who they don't use he, him, she, her, or other pronouns. All they want to use is they, them, right? I think Demi Lovato, there was another musician who came out as they preferred they, them pronouns. Trisha Paytas is somebody who she prefers they, them pronouns, but she also uses she, her pronouns. I believe, I should say they also use she, her pronouns, I believe just with their family and friends. I'm not sure about that. They may use she, her pronouns for whomever, but it's really just a personal preference. They, them is an all-encompassing thing. So if we can normalize using they, them pronouns, hey, I went to the doctor. What did they say? Hey, I got, I got a new housekeeper. What are they like? Or even when I'm talking about, oh, I got a new housekeeper. They did these things really awesome. I don't have to say he did these things awesome. She did these things awesome. I can say they did all of these really cool things awesome if their gender isn't important. You get what I'm saying? Get it? And I think if we do that, it just kind of normalizes using they, them pronouns for everyone. They, them doesn't exclude anybody. And that was, I think, part of the confusion that I think was happening in the comment section, is that like people were saying, oh, if you're using they, them pronouns, that person that you're referring to must be non-binary. And it isn't. It's, as you can see in my little diagram, is all encompassing. Okay? So that is the little thing that I wanted to explain. And then I wanted to watch, here we go. So if we flip over to this guy, this is the video that I wanted to watch. And unfortunately, I can't do it like without this frame, which I don't love. But as you can see, I started watching some of it. I got up and walked away. So like there's like 30 minutes of like I was walking in and out. So I'm not completely 100% familiar with this video, but let me turn off music from Nightbot, which hopefully he won't like copyright claim me for this. But like I just randomly paused it, but this face and her face is like kind of the energy that I've gotten so far from watching this. Red Lightning, that's not me. I'm not Red Lightning. I'm Red Person, but I do like the name Red Lightning. All right, I'm going to start it over from the beginning. I did try to like play some of it so that I would like get all the ads out of the way. I think originally it had like a bunch of ads and then people were commenting on it. And then when I watched it earlier today, I didn't see any ads in like the first 30 minutes. So fingers crossed, hopefully there's like not any ads on this. If there are, I'll just like click off of it while the ads are playing. I am going to boost up the audio on it so that you can hear the two of them actually, because she does talk a little bit. No, she actually talks a lot. I felt like he kind of talks over her a little bit too. So that was a little bit kind of concerning for me. But
Hello,
I am also a
everyone, and
person
we can
who
come
like,
and
I just
show me
have
and
to
show
kind
you
of
this.
watch everything
Okay.
at like
Hi,
double
everybody.
speed.
Welcome to what is a
But I'll
very
try and slow it
different bit
down
of
to
content
like
for
speed
me
and a half.
because, as a lot of people know, I might mute your mic until I bring you on. As a lot of people know, I like to keep my personal life pretty separate from my channel. But at a certain point, I don't know, it just feels like you want to try new things, you want to branch out, and not to mention that I've been seeing this person
I
who,
might have to
when we
do a restroom break here
speak,
in a minute.
there's a lot of stuff where it's like, we'll do things and I'm like, God, this is such good content. Why aren't we getting paid to do this? So maybe that's kind of what tonight is. So I know I'm still building suspense. They are right here next to me. A few things that I want to tell you about how the Q&A works. Yeah, we'll pull Q&A questions from the live chat.
I have nothing against building suspense. I have nothing against pulling just questions from the super chat. I do think the way that oh my gosh, you can hear my napkin. I'm sorry. I have nothing against building suspense, only pulling questions from the super chat. I don't have any problem with how he's setting this up. You're going to see like why I have some problems getting into this in a little bit, but I was like, is it getting late? No, it's just getting dark outside. I guess I've got storms that come in, but that's okay.
Chat. That said, super chat questions are always going to be prioritized. So if you want a question read, hit the super chat. I was also thinking about doing something with, I've got like boxes of Pokemon cards that haven't been opened. So I was thinking of doing maybe like anybody who like super chats over $20, anytime that happens, will also unbox a pack of Shining Fates Pokemon cards. But that's just
Okay.
ridiculous. And also, I do love, there are definitely people
You
who
tell I
are
didn't
like,
watch,
come on, just
like-
do it already. And then some people trying to. You might
I
have to put your
clicked.
hands up because the fireplace, apparently some people are like cheating. Anyway, super chat questions are going to be prioritized. Overly antagonistic questions, you're going to have to send like a minimum of $50 and like maybe higher depending on how antagonistic it is. But for $100,
So
I
he
probably
knows
answer
he's
almost
getting-
any question.
He knows he's getting antagonistic questions, so he's like, hey, give me $100 to actually read your question on air. Okay. Again, I don't necessarily fault it, but like the fact that you're getting so many antagonistic questions should be like maybe a little bit of a clue to you. Oh no, I washed my skin and it's like, I've been using a new moisturizer and like, I know it looks like it's like oily shiny. No, it's just like tight, like a teenager shiny. I should put on some powder.
So yes, we're here. I fully acknowledge that there are going to be a number of people that are like, all right, I saw the face and now I'm there. A couple of things that I'm going to make you wait for another second as I set this up. There's been clearly from the comments a few misconceptions. First of all, a lot of people seem to think that I'm going to be revealing a person and that it's going to be a person you know, that it's a known person, and it's totally not. Now, I did think it would be funny as a joke, and I called her and said we should have done this. If Brenda had lived nearby, I was going to start the show where she could promote her book, and then everybody would jump to the assumptions.
Okay, the reason why I paused it here is because he has previously made jokes about the creator, Brenda, from God is Grey. She's a Christian creator. She is, I don't know the word for it, but like Jews, you call them like Reformed Jews, but she's like a Reformed Christian, whatever that. She's like a more modern Christian. Liberal Christian, maybe? I don't know how you would say it, but they have previously like done things on his channel, on her channel too, I think. I don't know. I've seen her previously on his channel. And he made a joke when she made a pregnancy announcement about like basically not correcting people for assuming that it was his child. Which again, like not correcting people is one thing, but then like to later on like make a joke and also not correct it after making that joke is a little bit weird. unless like he discussed it with her ahead of time or like they had that type of relationship, which it turns out that they didn't, because my understanding is that she has since kind of basically cut ties with him. So that's a little bit like when I hear him mentioning her and how they should joke about a relationship. Yay. Okay.
And it would have been Brenda here with me. But no. Also, a lot of people only think we've been dating a short time. We'll probably talk about that.
Oops, sorry.
And a lot of people have jumped to the conclusions that because I used neutral pronouns, which are also non-binary pronouns, that they are non-binary, but they are not. Their pronouns are, you can sit up now because I'm going to bring you in now. Their pronouns are she, her, and this is my very loving partner, Michelle.
He did not
very
unmute
excited
her
as
mic.
I was building up. I was like, the thing I didn't think about much is like, what is just your first moment on air going to be like, and just the first hi? And I kind of wanted you to do, oh, I didn't unmute your mic. There you go. So, now you got a second chance. Pronouns are she, her. Go ahead and say hi with your mic actually on.
Hi, my name is Michelle. My pronouns are she, her. I'm Jimmy's wonderful girlfriend.
That's true.
It's nice to virtually meet everyone. It feels really strange talking to a camera and not seeing people, but knowing people are watching. I'm also like super used to putting my hand out and like giving someone a handshake when I meet them, so it's awkward.
I know that feeling. Like, whenever I'm like, hi, how are you? Like, I had to stop myself from asking, how are you in the stream? Because I would literally do the thing where I say, how are you? And then, like, I wait for a response. And, like, first of all, there's, like, a 30-second delay already. So, like, by the time you guys even hear me say, how are you? And type in your answer, plus the time, you know, it's just like, but, like, yeah, you can tell by my blood, like how much I'm blushing, how awkward it has been for me. I also feel like maybe she is blushing and she's like wearing a lot of foundation, because it looks to me like
I hate shaking people's hands.
Like maybe she is kind of blushing a little bit around the eyes, but I can't tell. She has very beautiful skin. I'm not sure if it's foundation or if she's just maybe she's born with it. I'm going to try and make this bigger for you guys, but... Oh, also this sign back here, I know it's like the first time you guys are seeing this sign behind me. Here, I'll shrink this down for a second. But I actually had the sign, picked out the letters and everything to put this sign up about a week before my wife came out to me. So I think there might have been like... maybe some hints and realizations that were happening subconsciously. I'm not sure, but yeah, I don't want to cover it up. Let's see if I do like that. Yeah, that works. Okay.
I don't hate that you do. I hate shaking people's hands. Everyone, look at how pretty she is. Anyway, so
she is very pretty.
we're going to talk about whatever you all want to talk about. Like I said, we'll be going to the live chat. We'll be prioritizing super chats. Anybody who super chats over $20. I think I kind of want to do that. I thought of this right before the show, but like,
She looks very awkward on camera. But again, like nothing against her. I just wonder how much he had to like convince her to be on camera. I have been like not trying to convince wifey to be on camera, but I have like invited her to be on camera like several times, and she's basically always just said no. And then actually like recently she was just like, hey, you know, maybe I would not mind being on camera. So maybe it was like that type of situation where it was like they had discussed it, she had said no, that she didn't want to be on camera, and then like she brought it up and was like, hey, actually I wouldn't mind. I'm not sure that that's what's happening. Unfortunately, this feels more like a, hey sweetie, my views are like way the freak down, would you mind coming on camera to like be my... I say stream goblin like for whenever like I have friends on, just because like they're allowed to like nag me and like just, you know, whatever. You guys have seen with Myrtle and everything. But yeah, it's got to be something that they're comfortable with. And I don't get any indication from this that she's not comfortable with it. It's just like, yeah, I got some questions.
I've been setting up this set for other stuff and the ability to have an overhead camera. And so we actually already have this kind of like this angle that we can do. Also, isn't it cool how the cameras can do this? I just want to say like, boom, everyone, this is Misha. Did you say your name?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. And in role plays, I often will call her Misha Collins. Okay. There's going to be lots of like, just trying to make her blush and laugh and stuff. All right, so.
I feel like there was some truth in that, and that was like why she kind of blushed at that, and like maybe she wasn't okay with like that being information that the public is okay with. And I forgot when I started the stream that I eat at 2:30 and I'm getting the tummy grumblies. But this is literally like 2 hours long, so I'm going to have to like take a little bit of a break here in a little bit. But I'm hoping that there's going to be like a natural breaking point soon. I don't know. We'll see.
Starting with the very first question, we're going to send it to the machine here, and we're going to do it like this, where if you send in a super chat and we put it on air, you'll get to see yourself up there. Anyway, do you want to read the first one?
So just that
Yeah,
one?
that top one.
Kind of a boring one.
Sorry, I also had.
Yeah. You gotta hit it and then hit send. Yeah.
Your coming out as autistic has made me realize I might be autistic too. What are some traits that made you?
I think sus and which
Suspect?
yeah, just short.
So she kind of would have figured that out on her own, is what it sounds like, and then he just kind of like talks over her. Again, it's like a little thing. It's not even like really like. It's not something that you would even say is sus, rather. But to me, it's like just something that I see as somebody who has been in maybe not the greatest relationships in the past. I can see just like where he just talking over. But we'll see. Maybe she also talks over him, and like that's the type of relationship that they have where they just talk over each other. Also, we might not see that if that is the type of relationship that they have. Excuse me, sorry. I have the like tummy, we also might not see it if that is still the type of relationship they have, but maybe she's not as comfortable on camera. I know with my mom on camera, in our everyday life, she will talk over me just as much as I will talk over her. But on camera, I noticed like watching back the first Gamer Mom cooking stream that we did that I do talk over her. Because I feel like she's like almost like petering out with her sentence, and then it's like, oh, I'll pick that up. But she is not comfortable enough to where she can do like the same thing with me. So we'll see. What I'm saying is we might not be seeing like all of the dynamic of this relationship, but I just feel like there's like I wish I had like a yellow flag, like you know how some people like have like a red flag that they like wave their red flag. It's not even like a red flag; it's like a yellow flag.
For suspect. Also, to David who's hopefully watching, you can put the $2 ones up. We'll put everything up.
Anyway, now. Well, we don't have very many.
The autism topic in and of itself is already interesting, and because this is something we actually so one of the things I said that we kind of I guess need to address is that a lot of people seem to presume this is a brand new relationship, and it's actually not. However, I understand people's confusion because I've probably been a little too public about like when there were pauses. I think when we first started dating, because our last relationships for both of us were disasters. Yeah.
Again, what does this have to do with like the comment though? Like getting back to like the comment was about like autism, and then like this is.
I think we went into the relationship just looking for why it won't work. Like
maybe like we could naturally like wait for this to come up like in the natural context of things, and then if it doesn't come up like in the first 30 minutes to an hour, then we'll discuss it. But like it's the second comment, and the first one was just like, yay, I'm Lady Liberty. Like, whatever. It was not even. So, just saying.
And there were sentiments of.
That's probably why he was like, hey, play the $2 ones too, because the $2 ones were more interesting. I just thought about that. That didn't occur to me until just now.
Like, why even bother trying when this is going to complicate things? And
sorry, I should
last relationships for both of us were disasters. Yeah. I think we went into the relationship just looking for why it won't work. And there were sentiments of like, why even bother trying when this is going to complicate things? And so like, while we had certain chemistries that weren't necessarily like emotional chemistry, but there were other things that really worked for us. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
Again, this is like a kind of embarrassed smile. Like, is she like actually okay with him talking about that? She's like looking away. She's like breaking eye contact. Like, oh, you didn't tell me you were going to talk about this on stream. So that's a little bit awkward. I do want to say though, I have had a past relationship like that where it was like we both came out of like not the best relationships, and we both knew that it wasn't going to work like long term, but we were okay with like just basically it was a one night stand that lasted 2.5 years. It was a good time. I don't regret that relationship. It came to a natural end. Um, but yeah, that was that. I think I'm gonna see if I can switch over to an intermission card. I realize I don't have an intermission card on this one. Oh, I do have like just a BRB card. But then I can just like grab some food super quick because my tummy is rumbling and I'm kind of dying and I feel bad. Should I think I could probably do it in 8 minutes if I just like play back this part of it in like regular speed. Okay. And then I'll grab some food. I'll be back faster than 8 minutes, I'm sure. Okay. BRB, guys.
Buddy, welcome to what is a very different bit of content for me because as a lot of people know, I might mute your mic until I bring you on. As a lot of people know, I like to keep my personal life pretty separate from my channel, but at a certain point, I don't know, it just feels like you want to try new things, you want to branch out, and not to mention that I've been seeing this person who, when we speak, there's a lot of stuff where it's like we'll do things and I'm like, God, this is such good content. Why aren't we getting paid to do this? So that's maybe that's kind of what tonight is. So I know I'm still building suspense. They are right here next to me. A few things that I want to tell you about how the Q&A works. Yeah, we'll pull Q&A questions from the live chat. That said, super chat questions are always going to be prioritized. So if you want a question read, hit the super chat. I was also thinking about doing something with, because I've got like boxes of Pokemon cards that haven't been opened. So I was thinking of doing maybe like anybody who like super chats over $20, anytime that happens, we'll also unbox a pack of Shining Fates Pokemon cards. But that's just ridiculous. And also, I do love, there are definitely people who are like, come on, just do it already. And then some people trying to, you might have to put your hands up because the fireplace, apparently some people are like cheating. Anyway, super chat questions are going to be prioritized. Overly antagonistic questions, you're going to have to send like a minimum of $50 and like maybe higher depending.
Okay, I actually thought that was going to take longer. This is literally 3 minutes. Let's go. Okay, here's where we were. I'm going to mute this while I'm like chewing because yuck. But
breaking up for a while and not even talking for a while. And then I found a belt of hers somewhere and was like, hey, is this yours? And then we ended up talking again and getting back together. Then we're not, I mean, like, obviously we're not going to go super into detail with other stuff, but like I know a lot of people know that there was a breakup back in like late October. And that was for things that I didn't know for a month, I think. And once we started talking again.
I actually kind of remember this, and he was like kind of bitchy about it, but like I only ever remember him making one comment, and it was just like, yeah, because like partners couldn't deal with that shit in the past, and like that's understandable when like this is what you do for a living. Just saying.
But it was like there was so much of a huge thing going on that I had no idea of.
Yeah, I'm fine not specifically saying, but I just had severe mental health issues going on.
Yeah. Well, you didn't have to even go into that detail. I was like,
I'm pretty open about that, but
yeah.
yeah.
There was I was just going to make up a story about like she was out kayaking and another kayaker like
So is he making up stories, or is this like all like completely honest with it? Like, because like as I said earlier in the stream, like there's some stuff that I just like don't talk about while I'm on stream. Sorry, I'm talking with food in my mouth a little bit, but there are some things that I just don't talk about on stream. But like I just say like I'm not going to talk about it on stream and like leave it at that. I'm not going to like make up a story that's like, oh, this is like there have been things where I did say it like where it was like truth adjacent just because it was like easier to explain it that way. It was like here's like 15 steps, you know, cut off of it as if I just explained it this way. I have done that, but like I haven't like made up a story. Yeah, she does look awkward. Yes. Thank you, small girl. Laura. Yeah, I'm trying to like eat quietly, so. Yeah, I feel like she is just like, okay, what all are we going to talk about? But like I said, that might be just she's not used to being on camera yet. You guys remember I used to be even more awkward than I am right now. So it does. And like, how many hours have I spent like behind this camera live streaming to you guys now? So if this, especially if she's like never done anything on camera ever before, it might just be the cameras.
like broke her kayak.
You remember.
No, anyway, so there have been little breaks, and I don't think it was until after the last one because basically I think what happened was both of us had huge barriers and walls up the whole time.
Yeah.
The first tries we had, and it was like there wasn't even a point where we could. There was probably a point where we already had started to kind of love each other and just would refuse to acknowledge any of that.
Yeah.
And like even talk about it or think about it. And so
I can understand that. We kind of came to a point with me and my ex that I was talking about where we were just kind of like, it was casual and it just like kept going for a while. And it basically came to a point where it was like, look, I want to like be in a relationship with somebody that I can depend on. And I feel like I'm kind of just basically getting the butt ends of both sides of it, which isn't necessarily the case for everyone, but like, especially as somebody who is on the asexual, demisexual spectrum, I wasn't getting like, to me, it wasn't like, oh, I get like sexual satisfaction, sexual gratification out of the relationship, and therefore, like, I don't need any further relationship. Like, I needed that for the relationship, and I was getting like all of kind of the shit ends of both of it. That I wasn't getting the commitment. I can't call you necessarily at 2 o'clock in the morning and know that like you're gonna be, where I can call you and you can come over or whatever. And at the same time, like, I didn't have that dependability, I guess. But yeah, I understand that. And it's like, hey, this isn't necessarily going to work out in the long run, which I knew that it wouldn't work out for us. We lived very far apart. Well, he was actually traveling at the time. And it was just one of those things where eventually, like, we were just like, yeah, this isn't working. But he and I are also still on good terms. He messaged me the other day his condolences about were acquaintances enough to where he had heard about that Macy had passed, and he messaged me condolences about that. So we are still on good terms. I am still on good terms with almost all of my exes. There's one that I can think of two that I can think of off the top of my head that I don't really talk to anymore, but I wouldn't say that I'm not not on good terms. The last time I talked to both of them, it was on good terms. We've just split our ways. So I understand like weird relationship dynamics and that like they didn't necessarily have to be like a traditional couple that split up and got back together, whatever, which again is something that he talks about on his channel a lot, that like we don't necessarily need like traditional gender roles, traditional relationship roles, that sort of thing. So good for them that they kind of like found a healthy way back to finding each other. I really actually think that's probably a good thing.
Oh,
Again, give credit where credit is due. It sounds
yeah, there was just a ton
positive.
of like, all these barriers that then after the second time, the way we got back together sort of brought all those barriers down.
Yeah.
And now there's like, the only things I haven't done is I can't get her to poop in my apartment. Anyway.
Oh my God, Jimmy.
Or fart in front of me.
So she definitely looked like that made her really awkward. And that is something that like to me it looks like they have discussed it before, that it makes her uncomfortable. And like the fact that he would bring it up on stream when he knows that it makes her uncomfortable makes me a little bit uncomfortable. I'm just going to say it. Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you, Laura. Yeah, exactly.
I'm about to hop off this camera.
Did you hear what she said? I'm going to run it back. She said, I'm about to hop off this camera.
I can't get her to poop in my
Watch this.
apartment. Anyway.
Oh my God, Jimmy.
Or fart in front of me.
I'm about to hop off this camera.
I'm out.
Okay,
so anyway, as
red
far as the
flag,
coming out as
red
autistic,
flag.
It's one of those things where it was both a revelation because it was finally like in words to both of us, but I don't think either of us were surprised. It was literally just like from the onset, you've had to get used to.
Certain things.
Yeah, like I am not the what level of masking people think I've done successfully on this channel, I have not done in my real personal life at all. Like
That's fair. I'm the same way. So now we are actually talking about autism, and you guys definitely watching me, I don't think you would necessarily know that I'm autistic. People who've known me for a long time are like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But because I just recently got diagnosed. But yeah, I think it makes a big difference. Sorry, my spouse just got home. I was like, what the hell? But yeah, I think there's certain instances where like masking is easier for certain people. So that makes sense that it's like, oh, well, he has been really good at masking on stream or in his videos, but he hasn't necessarily been in his own personal life. So hi, sweetie.
would you argue that I am
It scared me a little bit when I heard the door. I didn't realize that I had left the office door open.
not done in my real personal life at all? Like, would you argue that I am? No, he seems super normal in real life. Like just a super normal, casual person.
I mean, there definitely are things that you don't mask, but also I feel like you're really hard on yourself
Yeah, that's true.
on a tangent.
I think that he is really hard on himself on stream as well, though. I don't know if she's talking about like specifically that he's like more hard on himself not on stream, but like he will talk about like how like this thing bothered him or that thing bothered him. Like I was saying about like the numbers, he definitely gets like caught up in the numbers, and that can be good and bad, but I can definitely, even on like seeing what we've seen in videos from him, like we can tell that like he definitely likes to beat himself up. He's like, which is another like very sort of fundamentalist Christian trait, is it's like you have to be like persecuted. If you're not like being persecuted, then like you're not doing it right. Like you have to be like there has to be like some battle, some crusade, something that you're fighting for in order to like feel fulfilled. And I think that like partly has to do with like having a religious upbringing. I had like so I had one parent that was Christian, one parent that was not Christian, and I had like I was sort of given a choice, and then my dad was disappointed in my choice. It's like, you have a choice. Oh, but by the way, like the way that you chose, I will be disappointed. Which it wasn't even necessarily like a choice for me. I just I ended up being atheist, I guess, is what you would say, agnostic. But I think that that is like a very sort of Christian trait. Is like what is it that you're like crusading for, whatever, this like self-sacrifice type of thing. And like I need to almost like overwork yourself, not even almost, in a lot of cases it's like legit, you have to overwork yourself or you're not good enough. Like it's that type of feeling. Not saying that every Christian has that, or that every like even like Mormon church has that, but like a lot of Christian mentality I feel like comes from that like persecution type attitude.
That's very, yeah, that's very true. As far as like, so what are
That sounded like he was agreeing with me, but I'm going to back it up so that you can actually hear what he's saying.
Hard on yourself
yeah, that's true.
on a tangent.
That he's hard on himself.
That's very, yeah, that's very true. As far as like, so what are traits that made you suspect I was? Because that's the question. What are traits that you sus? And this may have been meant for me, but like,
Oh, you're gonna put it on me?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I ever like necessarily suspected it. I just think you did, and I was like, yeah, perhaps. I think like what's the best way? Like if I had said a word incorrectly, you would correct it. And at first it seems condescending, but like after a while, it's just like I just thought it was a quirk, and I know you didn't mean to be. Like,
I like that you're starting with like the quirks that are like a little mean kind.
I do that too. My spouse my spouse will attest to this, that I do it too. It's not even like intentional. It's just like you hear the word being pronounced wrong and like you have to say it correctly. Like you have to like correct it in your brain before you can let go of it. Like it's this like it's like getting your sweater snagged, right? And like you just have to like unsnag your sweater before you can like move on. Like when you hear the word being mispronounced, you have to like correct it before you can move on. I know exactly what he's talking about. I have the exact same thing.
Which wasn't ever meant to be, but it was literally just like a, for example, I really hate when people say all of a sudden.
Yeah,
And so
I've
if someone
had
says
this
all of a sudden around me, I will
1,000
impulsively
times.
say the word suddenly. Because there's no need for all of a sudden when suddenly is such an effective and good term.
Yeah.
It's so much better. And I remember,
There's a little bit country, like where I grew up, like it's very country here, and everyone says all of a sudden. In fact, there's a, like every time I say it, there's a country song that comes to mind. I don't remember. It's like it's a song about like when somebody had a kid, and it's not even actually like a very popular country song. It's just like pops into my head because it's so country. It's like all of a sudden. All of a sudden, no, it felt. I can't. It'll click in my mind later. But like it is kind of like just a country thing to say, and like if that's one of his, so here's one of mine that like I've had to work really hard to like stop getting irritated about because it has become sort of a colloquialism where it's not even necessarily incorrect anymore, but is when people say the word literally to mean things that are not literal. So like I literally died just like for emphasis, but like when you use the word literally that way, not only does it not mean like the traditional meaning of the word literally, it means the exact opposite of the traditional meaning, and it like frustrates the hell out of me, and I've had to get like over it a little bit. It's like I don't know, like if you're autistic and you have like a pair of shoes and like it's the only pair of shoes that you have, but like maybe they like rub you in a weird way that it feels funny, like, or ooh, socks. Okay, I've had to like get over socks before where it was like those are the only socks that I had clean, and like at that point in time, like I didn't do my own laundry, and like if you know people who are autistic, there's a good chance that they have like just like feel like clothing feeling things, and like when you can like feel your socks on your toes like the entire day, it's a little bit frustrating, but you have to get over it. Like you just have to get over it. And there's different ways you can deal with getting over that, but like there are like you can't just like be like, oh, I'm autistic, I can't like interact with the world at all. Like I mean, there are people who are like have such strong autistic like symptoms to their autism that like I need help. But like, you're a guy who like runs your own channel and everything else, and yes, you have help there, but it's like you can't just like blame autism. You can't. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work.
There's even a point where we were talking about it, and then you got a little mad because you started to agree with me as I was like going through examples and stuff. For me, I think the main things that our experiences were much better. And I remember there's even a point where we were talking about it, and then you got a little mad because you started to agree with me as I was like going through examples and stuff.
Okay, yeah, no, my spouse like won't ever agree like in the moment, and it's just, which is part of the reason why like a lot of times it's just like we have to like go and deal, because I also am like a person where I will sometimes just agree in the moment to be like, okay, like whatever, like we're not having this argument, and then like I'll think about it later and like decide like whether or not I agree with it, or like that sort of thing. But it's yeah, we have like kind of the same thing. Kind of the same thing, but not. It just doesn't like we're just like, okay, we're gonna go to separate rooms.
For me, I think the main things that our experiences are going to be totally different, because anything that would have been not surprising for you would have been things you had seen. For me, the reason why it wasn't surprising was because I knew all of the things that I mask and all the things that I hide that were never really adequately explained by current things I had been working through in therapy and stuff. And so it was more
yeah, like the things that are the things that bother you, dealing with mental illness are not necessarily the things that everybody else sees. Because you might do a wonderful job of like, this bothers you so much that you like keep it under wraps and nobody ever talks about it, and like you don't ever bring it up, and like it's like something that you like hide away because of that activity. But at the same time, there might be other things that like are so obvious to other people, and like you don't even realize that you're doing it. I will stand in front of the television, like literally like a foot away from the TV. I don't know how big our TV is, but it's big, okay? You can't see my other hand, but that's how big it is, okay? It's a big TV, and I will stand close enough to the TV where it fills my entire field of vision, without even realizing it. And then like my spouse will come up behind me and be like, "Hey, can you like scooch over?" Like, she'll actually like grab my hips and just like gently move me to the side and be like, "I'm trying to watch too." It is a big TV. It is a big TV, and I've done it actually since I was a kid. Like once she started pointing out that I did it, and I like found out about the autism diagnosis, I like started like remembering my dad like yelling at me for like, "You make a better door than a window," and like that kind of thing when I was a kid. My mom has pointed out that like when I play video games, I don't even notice that I'm doing it again. But like PlayStation 4 with the wireless controller, you can sit back in a sofa and you don't have to worry about, really being that far away from the TV. But I would just like stand up, and then next thing I knew, I would be like a foot away from the TV. My mom would be like, "Why are you always standing right by the TV?" I'm like, I don't even think about it. I just do it. Yeah.
about, it was more about how, like for me, it was more the stuff that I was stimming is the biggest one. And that's the biggest one that like I still don't entirely do. Like you'll all probably see my hands do impulsive things from time to time. Yeah, that was the biggest one that
You
I
guys
guess
don't
people
see my hands.
didn't see where I knew. But then also just a constant notice that like I don't think the way other people think. And then like one of the biggest things that we've been learning about, that if people want to hear more about, they can ask follow-up questions. I'm not going to take the whole thing, but like we've been talking about it a lot, which is when you're autistic, especially beforehand and before people start explaining to you, like as you're going through therapy and understanding certain things, you go through a lot of life thinking you don't have as much empathy and sympathy as others because you do express those things differently and you experience them a little bit differently. And then you find out as you're like going through and talking through certain things, and the doctor telling you like, no, that is what you're describing is empathy, that you actually have like bucket loads more than the average person.
See, and I grew up actually with like my dad saying like, "Oh, you're selfish," and this, that, and the other. And I like grew up actually kind of having a little bit of an issue learning how to like distinguish between like being selfish and like taking self-care. Because yes, you do express those things differently, but I never felt like, I remember my dad being like, "You're so selfish," and being like, "But I'm not, like, I'm thinking of everybody else." Like, so, him saying that he thought of himself as selfish, like, if you weren't thinking of others though, like maybe you were selfish. I don't know what particular activities like and expressions that he's like talking about, so it's hard to say, because maybe like that is just something that is different for him. But I can agree that like expressing sympathy and empathy for others is something that is harder for someone who's on the autistic spectrum. At least it is for me. It may not be for everyone. Again, that's everyone on the autistic spectrum is like in a different place on that spectrum. I really do believe, and it goes this way and it goes this way, and you know, you know.
Both have that in
Often.
common, except I'm not on the autism spectrum, but just with like a recent diagnosis of a mental health thing,
Yeah.
where I was like, I'm convinced I'm this because I don't feel empathy. And like after talking to a psychologist for a couple of sessions, he was like, no, you just have this and you experience
It's
it.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know there's a lot of like,
So if they both experience empathy differently, like it might be like a good relationship for the two of them that like they can both recognize in the other one, like, hey, I'm not necessarily seeing what I would consider sympathy and or empathy on my partner's face and or in their actions, but like I know that I myself express it in a way that's not traditional. So like I can give them like a little bit of leeway and realize that like maybe they are experiencing those things and they're just not expressing them the same that we would traditionally see. So maybe that's a good thing.
there's a lot of stuff where even in recent instances and issues that people have put me up the center at, there's a lot of like, I'm sorry that I can't hate as many people as other people can hate. Like I can
Okay, I have to pause it here. I can't hate as many people as others would like me to hate. Is that what he said?
sorry that I can't hate as many people as other people can hate. Like
I can't hate as many people as other people can hate. I know what he's talking about here. I'm pretty sure. Now, I can't like read his mind, but again, like we looked at let's look at his social blade here. So it looks like actually he has been losing subs for a little bit before this. Maybe this was like when it broke on Twitter. Let me see when Rachel Oates' video came out. When did her Gabby Hanna video come out? Here is the. Okay, so this was like 8 months ago. Oh, but I think she was she was recently interviewed. So I'm going to look up Rachel Oates' Dandelion and see. So it looks like 2 months ago and or 2 weeks ago, like between that time is when it started kicking up on Twitter again. But again, she released this video 8 months ago. So like all the stuff that he's referring to was 8 months ago. We just didn't find out about it until recently. So it's kind of interesting to me that like maybe people didn't realize that it was him. Because I know, like I said, she did that interview. So that was probably the recent inciting event. I guess. I can't find the interview though, so I don't know what channel it was for or anything like that. I don't know what brought it up again. That's what I'm assuming, but I don't know. So yeah, this all came back up again. And then right around this time was when he decided that he needed to be making another video on it. Was that, well, let's see. When was it that he... Because I did rewatch it just to get like the screenshots. 2 weeks ago. We're not going to watch it. The 16th of June. Okay. So, dang it, I got lost. 16th of June, he lost it. So he was losing like 1,000 subs a week before that. Interesting. Maybe I wasn't the only one who was picking up on like the vibe of like him being kind of manipulative and kind of talking down to his audience. And yeah. Okay, I'm going to switch back to this one. Is that why he felt like he needed... It was interesting in that video, too. He was like, I have no interest in, like, making people look bad, but, like, this is going to make Rachel look bad. And it was like, it didn't make Rachel look bad. It made you look bad, Jimmy. I don't know what you're saying. But anyway, let's get back to this one with his girlfriend. We're, like, 15 minutes into this, and, like, I've been streaming for an hour and a half.
Really
Sorry.
somebody, but I can be friends with anyone as long as that doesn't prevent me from telling them what I think about what they...
Okay, sorry, I have to pause again. You can be friends with people who are like rape apologists. You can be friends with like, because that's not like an alleged thing. Like that was, again, I don't know how to like get into this in like 30 seconds, but there was a friend of Gabby's who was sexually assaulted by a mutual friend of theirs. This guy who sexually assaulted the friend was like charged and convicted in a criminal court of sexually assaulting Jesse, the mutual friend. Gabby later on defended him on Twitter, even after having been convicted, and basically harassed Jesse, the victim, and basically said that that she didn't believe the victim. Again, you can look that up. It's like the Gabby Hanna Jesse Smiles situation. But like, if that is the person that like you're talking about here, like you can't just like be like, I'm sorry, like they're the past, unfortunately, like the past 8 years has like taught me, well, you know, more or less has taught me that like there are certain like lines in the sand where like, yes, I can disagree with somebody on like whether a straw has one hole or two, whether pineapple belongs on pizza, whether a hot dog is a sandwich, and that's just like talking about food. All right, there are so many things that I can like disagree about, but like there are certain things that are like fundamental values, fundamental morals that like I can't disagree with those things and still be friends with you. Like, sorry, like I can't, like here's one of them back here. Like trans women are women, and if you don't believe that trans women are women, like I'm sorry, I can't be friends with you. Like I can't. And if you're like going to be friends with somebody who's a rape apologist, I'm sorry, like I can't be friends with you. Like that's, if you're going to defend a rapist on Twitter, I can't be friends with you. And if you're going to be friends with somebody who's going to defend somebody, you get what I'm saying, right?
They feel like it's literally like I could be friends with Paul and Morgan as long as I can be as open with Paul and Morgan to their faces as I am in my channel. And if that doesn't make them go like, well, I can't be around you because of that, then I have no, there's nothing that stops me.
Paul and Morgan are fundamentalist Christians, and I think that they have said like that is something that like they can't be friends with somebody who fundamentally to them have like different beliefs. That's a line in the sand that they have drawn. Whether or not like that's a correct line in the sand is whatever, but like that's obviously not who he's talking about in general, considering the fact that they have already basically said that they would not like do any type of like working with him or collabing or anything like that. And I don't think that they're like even really interested in being friends. Maybe they are all friends behind the scenes and it's like something that he's gonna like release later, because I really did not think that he was friends with Gabby Hanna. I really thought that like Gabby Hanna would like be the kind of person that he would be opposed to on his channel. He like talks about, you know, human rights, just in general human rights. So I didn't think that Gabby Hanna would be somebody that he would support. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's like subtly telling us like, you know, we're supposed to like read between the lines and think, maybe he is friends with Paul Morgan, but I doubt it. Just like based on like what they have said, it's like, I don't know. They're not quite as adamantly opposed to being friends with atheists as I think Girl Defined are, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
From being, thank you for the sticky Loki lover. All right, we should move on. If you want to talk more about it, we'll bring it up. Stop saying all of a sudden in the chat. It's suddenly
no,
all
keep
day
saying
long.
it. Keep it going.
You
guys.
agreed with me. Squirrel Sapper says the Mighty Slapper approves. This is a thing that happened in the past. This one's
I'm just gonna
definitely
laugh
directed
about
toward
that
me, so I'll
'cause-
take this one. Alex Watt asked, what happens to your crew after moving to Austin? The crew's coming with. So right now the crew that's coming with is going to be David and Dom, because Dom was already moving to Austin anyway, and then David's just happy to go wherever I go. He moved to Denver to do this year, and will come too. Other people who work with and for me already have remote positions. Ryan is going off to do college stuff, and so Ryan, one of the non-binary graphic artists that we have that works here, they're going to be going off to school and moving to a different place anyway. So we've created a version of their job that can be done basically completely remotely. So as long as that they want to do it, they can do it. Anyway, do you want to do this one? Because I know that we've addressed how funny this one's going to be to...
Yeah. So how'd you meet? Also, Dan Grill, thank you. So we were actually both at Whole Foods, and I was reaching for the last organic kiwi. And whose hand did I meet upon going for the kiwi? And that's actually not
When we
how
first
we met.
formulated this lie like a year ago.
Take a wild guess how.
They like made up a meet cute. Like I like it. It's me and my ex that I like talked about where we were like we didn't really we knew that it wasn't going to work out from the start. We had a slightly modified version of our meeting story that we would tell people.
How we met.
Well, you're more thinking like our first date, right? Or no, how we
met? We met on Tinder.
Yeah, we did. We met on Tinder. So there's a tricky part with
That's how
me
I
and
met my
dating,
spouse.
which is that if anybody expresses that they had seen any of my content, I become like super like locked up, and I'm like, I don't know about this. And she did say like, oh, by the way, I've seen some of your stuff, and I kind of like addressed that with her, and then you lied and pretended you would never. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
No, I'm just
I
kidding.
was like full transparency. I know
Yeah.
who you are because I had like relatively recently deconverted from Christianity,
Yeah,
and so I like knew of your content, but I wouldn't say I was like a mega fan. I feel bad
Right.
because I am now.
yeah,
But at the time, I probably just saw like a video or two.
yeah. You still were fans of Nightmares at that time.
Let's not talk.
We won't talk about that at all.
I'm glad that she was like I'm glad that she like stuck up for herself and she was like we're not going to talk about that.
But yeah, we met on Tinder. I was a little bit worried about the like was aware of, so we definitely took.
I totally get that. Like 100%. And like that is part of the reason why I was like okay with like starting doing more streaming and stuff like after I kind of for those of you who don't know, I started my YouTube channel when I was single. Met my spouse. Well, my channel was very small. My channel's still very small. But part of the reason why I was like okay with getting back into streaming is like not being single now. I don't have to like worry about I like literally put a ring on it, and I don't have to worry about like dating somebody and like have them like online stalking me and like because people like build up an opinion of you like based on that, whereas like my spouse already like has a fully formed opinion of me, and like she might watch my content and stuff, but like she already knows who I am, so there's not like I think. Oh my god, my hair looks ridiculous. Hold on. That only slightly helped. I think we give ourselves like we try to show the best version of ourselves, and like we show the best version of ourselves to our partner that is like the best version for them, and we show the best version of ourselves for our audience that version, and they're not always exactly the same. So oh, thank you. It looks a little bit ridiculous, but I'll roll with it. But yeah, I understand like having like a slightly different like on screen persona too, which I think he is going to talk about a little bit later, because it is like you have to realize that like if you're going to like meet somebody in real life, any type of relationship, if you like have seen their content, like if you and I would meet in person, my personality wouldn't necessarily match what you would expect it to be. Not that I'm like not being real, but like I'm showing a version of myself that like I'm willing to present to an audience, whereas like somebody that how I might be willing to present a version of myself like to a friend might be different. That's all. That is all.
We had a lot of conversations before the first time we met, but then once we actually met, things moved very fast.
Yeah.
But it was like really slow until we did.
Well, we
meet in
also
person.
like FaceTimed a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was definitely development because again, like it's one of those things where there's multiple reasons if you're a creator to be cautious about anyone who's aware of your content before you date them or entertain anything.
I
And
was gonna say.
one is this person, if you're looking for just something casual or if you're looking for something more serious, you need to make that like pretty clear, because already there's the potential for a power imbalance. And if that power imbalance starts with you're leading somebody on, now you actually are exploiting a power imbalance and you kind of are a sack of crap. And so there's a lot to like, a lot of reasons why to be cautious.
I like that he's aware of that. But again, credit where credit is due. That's a good thing to be aware of.
About it, and it was good to do so, and it definitely did not affect our ability to disagree on things early on, because we have like, it's really funny because there's definitely things where we can look back and it feels like
Lifetime ago.
yeah, and that we had like no communication skills at that point, but a lot of it was that we weren't trying to. It was, again, I think we were both looking more for reasons why it wasn't going to work, and it was like, this will be to pass the time kind of stuff.
And it was quarantine.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, there's definitely a level of like, is this just a quarantine relationship?
Yeah, because we met, I think, at the end of January in 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was fun.
Yep. And now
Oh, so they met literally like as the lockdown was starting. Okay. Because I was like, how did they meet like in lockdown? Like, how did that go? Like, did they get swapped? Blah, blah, blah. But that makes sense.
it's such a different
And she coughs.
relationship now.
Yeah.
Like early on, I've definitely been super cynical of relationships, and it's like if there are bad signs at the beginning, it's like, these don't get better, just forget it. But we like worked, and now it's like our communication skills are the exact opposite of what they were at the beginning. They're so good now.
Yeah, can you guys hear me better? I just saw a comment that said you can't hear me.
Yeah, I feel like communication skills are something that like you can work on by yourself in some ways. Like you can work on your overall communication skills, but then also like when you have a partner, you need to like work on specifically your communication skills with that partner, and like how does that, how not only like how, am I saying it the right way, but are they receiving it? How are they, like there's more to it. It's different with every person, with every relationship, whether it be a romantic relationship, a friend relationship, a familial relationship. You kind of have to figure out how to navigate each of those things differently. I remember this is literally probably 25 years ago. I had a therapist tell me because I was kind of had this situation with my older brother, and my older brother had gone through some trauma. I'm not going to talk about it because it's not my place to talk about it. If you think you know what it is, you definitely don't, because it's like such a weird, like random thing. But anyway, he dealt with that trauma, but it took him quite a while. And in the process of that, as the younger sibling, I felt like my older sibling was just mean to me and hated me and I couldn't communicate with him in a way that was productive. I couldn't talk to him about anything. And I remember a therapist saying to me, it's funny because it's like literally, I'm like 25 years ago and it's still very impactful to me. But she said, you can't change the way that he is reacting to you. The only thing that you can change is the way that you react to him. And by virtue of the way that you react to him, he will be forced to change his behavior towards you. Now, whether that is in a positive way or, and she went on from there. But I just remember like that sort of response where I was just like, why can't I make him like me? Why can't I make him be nice to me? And it's like, I can't, because you can't. It's not, those aren't my actions to be able to express or whatever. But what I can do is I can change my actions to him to where I can't get hurt. So, yeah, you got to change your actions for each relationship, I feel like, in my opinion. IMO.
And I did just turn you up.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, and also after like a health thing I had 2 months ago, it like kind of leveled up this relationship, or it just evolved in a way I have never experienced in a really great way, where we have like a deeper bond and connection and love.
So it survived past quarantine. It wasn't just to get through quarantine. And now it's funny because I've had
it sounds like it survived past quarantine, but it didn't necessarily survive through quarantine. But like, that's understandable.
Relationships nowhere longer, but I think we both would have the sentiment of this is by far the most serious relationship I've been in, as far as like not just that we've been together for a certain amount of time, but that we actually have put in the work to have a healthy relationship.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I also used to just think that it was length that made a relationship more or less significant.
Yeah.
So, it does not.
Zach wants to know if there's going to be a is there going to be an update on the fish tank? Do you want to tell them what's up?
I love Zach's profile picture, by the way. I don't know who Zach is, but like Zach, I love your profile picture.
On with the fish tank?
So what was the last update? That all the fish passed away?
Did everyone know that? You might have just.
No,
yeah. So there was.
All of his fish passed away. I don't want to hear about those. Sorry, I'm skipping forward past the fish tank.
I do this too much. But would like come and like tuck her head into me, and like her body would fall behind, and she just knew how to sort of emotionally take care of me as a dog. And so like she died, and I thought I probably
Okay.
yeah. And it's these
Sorry.
These were
Like I said, I lost my dog like last week actually, so I can't do that right now. But
here's this
we're
one.
gonna skip it.
Red Lightning. If you guys could switch bodies for a month, would you do it? And would it make you understand each other on a whole nother level? I think we understand each other pretty well, but I think I would just so I could like bang myself slash.
Yeah, honestly, the thing is we'd spend that entire month together in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That would be the only reason I think.
But we both have.
Sorry, as somebody who's like asexual, demisexual spectrum, like that was like such a weird response to me. But I guess that's maybe not like weird to other people. I don't know. It's like that was like the where she jumped. But I don't know. Maybe they were talking about like stuff in the bedroom before this. I don't know.
Of our own health issues, so I think that it would be like we already have a ton of empathy though because we have our own.
Yeah.
So we already like care a ton about. I don't know if you all saw like, and I know we mentioned this on air, so I don't think you mind me bringing it up again because I'd asked you last time.
Oh,
if it was
about
okay.
endo, yeah.
Yeah. So I had made some posts about like all the things I was finding out about like endometriosis and people who have that and PCOS. And Michelle has endometriosis, and it was like just we both put a lot of effort into learning about what each other goes through and stuff. And holy shit, like.
Yeah. I just have so much like love and compassion for anyone that.
I do like that he put a lot of love and effort into like that they both do into like looking at and discovering what the other one is going through. Whether or not like I would be like cool with just like going online, like for instance, my spouse has some health issues. The health issues that I've talked about on stream, I've always gotten an okay from her to talk about her asthma and everything else. You know what I mean? But it's like, I would not if she was going through something else or, again, I have permission to talk about this, but I didn't actually have permission when it first started, so I didn't talk about it. If you guys, those of you who followed me for a long time know, early on when I started this channel, my spouse just kind of like disappeared for a while. My spouse had COVID, and she wasn't comfortable with me talking about it because at that point in time it was still very political. I did talk about it a little bit afterwards, but I wasn't like going online being like, oh, like if somebody in your household has COVID, blah, 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 you know, and even in that situation, it would be somewhat pertinent because it was something that everybody in the world was dealing with. But like, especially if it was something like if she had like, obviously, you know, we discussed that she's not at risk for endometriosis or PCOS, but if she would, like, I wouldn't be like online, like posting, oh, hey, did you know this about endometriosis or PCOS or whatever? Like, because people would be like, is there somebody in your life that has that? Like, and then like, you know, they might, I feel like it would be something that people would easily concur that like your significant other had it. Because I remember him saying like specifically things about like, just sexual things, you know, and not that there's anything wrong with discussing those things, but it was like very much obvious that it was like, oh, Jimmy's partner has endometriosis was like how those posts came off. That it was like, oh my gosh, like, did you know about like if you have a partner who's suffering from endometriosis, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh, so you have a partner who's suffering from endometriosis, you know? Sorry, I feel like the COVID was like the closest example that I could come up with, and it wasn't really the greatest example, but I think you know what I'm talking about.
Has endometriosis because it just is so painful and it just gives you so many problems and yeah, it does suck. I don't want children, so like infertility doesn't bother me, but I do feel bad for the people that have it and want to have kids, but it makes it difficult. But yeah, it sucks.
Yep.
Also, like on this same note, I don't think I could do your job. Like I'm like way more mellow unless I get angry, but just the whole like, hey, welcome back to the Sometime Show, I couldn't do it. It's like too much energy for me.
And that's just the performance aspect.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I'd be like, welcome back to my monotone, boring show.
Hi, everybody.
But that's different.
I'll be reading you.
Different shows are different. For instance, like you guys have seen like you know, my diamond painting streams and stuff. And there's like other people who do different diamond painting streams who are like, they do really more chill or really more energy. When I had Myrtle on as a guest, or even when I had my mom on as a guest, it's just a different energy. So like every show's different. Like it doesn't, you don't have to like, there used to be like, I think this concept or idea, back when I started my YouTube channel, like started it, not like actually like started growing it, but, that like every emotion that you show on camera that you have to like turn it up to 11 basically in order to get like your audience engaged, and that's really no longer the case, especially with like the advent of ASMR channels and everything. See, like whatever your vibe is, like there is a there's like almost 8 billion people in the world. There's going to be someone who is down for your content, you know. This is literally something that I've like never done before on my channel, and like I got like 2 or 3 people watching. Yeah, 3 people watching, and like, you know, you guys might not even know who this is, or you might, and it might be, you know, something that's for your audience. But like just to say like, oh, I couldn't do it because I can't like match your same energy. I think maybe what she means is that like like if they switched for a week, she wouldn't be able to like pull it off as like, oh, I'm Jimmy, but like I guess I get what she's saying if that's what she's saying, but like if she's saying, oh, I couldn't be a YouTuber because I can't match your energy, that's not necessarily the case. But also, if you don't feel comfortable being on camera all the time, like that's cool too. Different strokes for different folks.
You fairy tales, starting with the Bible, the
Yeah,
original fairy tale.
couldn't do it.
I mean, yeah, like what he's doing now, like saying, oh, like this is what her channel would be like. There's literally channels that are like that. There was a mythology channel a while back where he read like this huge, long, I think it was like 1,000-page book that was like huge pages too. And he read it all in whisper, and he read the entire book in whisper. And I, as somebody who like doesn't get an ASMR response from that, like I was just like, oh my gosh, like it's actually kind of annoying to like listen to this guy like talk about it in whisper, but like it was interesting information. But I have a very strong feeling that a good 90% of his audience was not watching it for educational purposes. They were watching it for ASMR purposes, you know. But like, whatever. There's a lot of people who watch my diamond painting content for ASMR purposes. I'm not somebody who gets an ASMR response, but I'm like perfectly fine with like making ASMR videos for people. Like that's not like.
Yeah, she is very interesting, and when she gets going,
Like I wonder how many like pool cammers, like hot tub streamers and pool streamers like are like asexual, demisexual. They're like, I don't get off on this, but you guys get off on this, and it doesn't make me feel awkward because I don't really have any like feelings towards it.
I actually think she would do one.
Not that all asexual people don't have feelings towards it. Some are sex repulsed, you know. That's a whole spectrum too. But just a funny little quip I was thinking. All right, back to the video.
Amazing at this, but I think right now you just don't know how to. I have to use it like an on switch.
Yeah.
Like you've seen, she's been here when I'm filming, and it's literally like before I'm filming, it's like, okay, can we get this done? Can we get this? Is that light on? Blah 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 blah. All right, let's go. Hey everybody, welcome back. Blah 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 blah. And it'll catch her off guard, like seeing just the switch go. And I think you just don't know how to manually move the switch. But when you get going, like.
Yeah. Well, also when like he said that his partner says he's different
I understand
outside of
that
like
too.
the show. That's like one of the biggest.
Myrtle's kind of like that she has to like get going, and it's like once the camera's rolling and we're going, and like then she's like, it's almost like the camera fades in the background, you know. But yeah, it's also practice. It's also practice. I am like, for me, music helps like pump me up. So like the hold music that you guys are listening to at the beginning of it, I'm also listening to the hold music, oftentimes singing along with it. I have learned to mute my mic so that you guys can't hear me singing along to it at the beginning of it. But like I just like kind of like get in the groove. Like, all right, here we go. We're gonna do this by like listening to that music, you know. Also the like dance music and stuff when I'm doing like more of like an upbeat stream and stuff like that. I'll listen to like the dance music ahead of time, just so where it like gets me in the mood. But like for me, music is my thing, you know. It might be something different for you, might be something different for her. And again, if it isn't something that she wants to do, it doesn't matter.
Things is like you're way more mellow, and like that's just this big persona you have. There are other things, but that's like the biggest thing for me.
It's the weirdest thing where it's like I'm still sure I would have rather not been raised Mormon and not been abused every day of my childhood.
This is ASL for the same, by the way. That's like I'm saying I'm the same way, but I'm saying it without pausing the stream and talking.
However, those are why I'm charismatic on demand, because Mormonism only values men who are charismatic. And so to thrive in that world, and I wanted to thrive, you have to figure it out. You have to fake it. You either fake it or you make it.
Heard that.
And I do a little bit of both. Yeah,
heard
people
that.
are saying you'd be great at ASMR.
I hate ASMR so
That's true.
much.
Yeah.
I hate hearing people chew. I'm just like,
Can't.
I don't understand it.
Just because you don't love the content doesn't mean that you can't like just because you don't love consuming the content doesn't mean that you can't love making the content, just so long as like you enjoy making it, right? Because people say, oh, like make content that you love, not necessarily like content that you love consuming, but content that you love making.
Let's see.
But thank you.
Also, let us know in the live chat too. We're thinking about, so one of the things that I was like, why don't we do this on air? And the main reason we first started talking about this a couple months ago was we started getting snack boxes that come from different countries.
I got a snack crate subscription because I thought it'd be fun
Yeah.
to do, and we've really been enjoying it. And those are
I
like
wish
the
they would
videos.
sponsor us.
And that's why I'm saying we have to do a video because they sponsor people.
I don't think the one you used.
Just a side note, I really do want to start doing a segment where I like call it like not yet sponsored, I think is what I'm going to call it. Where I just like talk about like stuff in my life from like, oh my gosh, guys, like I tried this product. I'm like, I really like it. And there's been several things where I'm like, I should tell you guys about that, but I just need to make like a graphic like this one where I can just be like, hey, I'm going to tell you about this. And basically it's like a joke where, I mean, like only a half joke though, because like if people do want to like, if you have a product that you want to pay me to promote on stream, like email me. I'll send it over to my manager, i.e. my mom, to look at. And like, I'm definitely like not opposed to sponsorships, but yeah, I do want to start doing like a segment where it's like not yet sponsored. And I just like tell you about cool stuff I like. You know, kind of like Oprah's list of like favorite things, except for it's me and not Oprah because we're like not even on the same planet, but same concept. I don't know.
Does. The one that you've been ordering, I don't think does.
I'll have to look because I swear.
I don't know if I
lot
can
of
get
people
through
do
this
it.
whole video today.
Well, again,
It's
they
like
might
keep
reach out to
pausing
individual
it.
creators, but they don't have an easy program in place. Anyway,
We're
the next
still
one's
only
coming
30
from
minutes
Morocco.
into this video.
So if
There's
you all
like
wanna
2
see us
hours
eat
left of this video.
Weird snacks, especially with like the reason why it's fun is because I'm such a picky eater.
Yeah.
And sometimes we will be completely opposite on. We got from Spain these chips that are made to taste like eggs.
I don't care about
That's why you
your.
don't screw it up and all that. However you want.
No. It's so funny.
How does one spell Jimmy's partner's name so we don't screw it up and all that? However you want.
No, with 2 L's. I hate.
I did see this part earlier. I didn't realize it was right after this, but that's why I ran it back. I'm just gonna like just really quick again watch this. Oh, I should put it at normal speed.
How does one spell Jimmy's partner's name so we don't screw it up and all that? However you want.
No, with 2 L's. I hate.
The question was, how does one spell Jimmy's partner's name so we don't screw it up and all that? So he's saying, hey, Michelle or Shelly or Misha. Because I think she said that she also goes by Misha. She doesn't usually go by Michelle. How do you spell your name? But I don't want to say, hey, Michelle, how do you spell your name? Because I don't know how to spell it and I can't say it aloud because it's all in writing. So how do you spell your name? And he just like answers for her and doesn't even like let her answer the question of like, how do you spell your name?
Misha, though, is what they're asking about.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like
However,
Yeah.
I just have to say though, like my first name is Michelle. No one calls me that. But when people spell it with 1 L, it just looks unbalanced to me. So I was like 2 L's.
I think we were going to keep it a secret that your first name was Michelle.
I can't.
Just gave up.
She already said like her name is Michelle.
Yeah.
Like, my name is Ophelia. Everyone calls me Red. Like, it's not. Just because everybody like knows your name, it's not like.
You want to read that one?
Also, if you like look up my name, like you're never gonna find me. It's gonna be really hard. This is not my legal name. It was not my legal name previously. It's not my legal name now.
You can read the next few. This one, yeah.
Okay. Jennifer Malloy,
You can read this one because this is you're cute, and we're cute together. Sorry, I'm getting persnickety
You are
now.
very cute. Thank you.
One of us definitely is.
That one. You're the cutest.
How dare you?
Okay, that is kind of cute. They're
wanna
being
hit
a
the next
little bit
one?
adorable
Yeah.
right now.
Do I click send?
Yep.
Sorry guys, I'm new with this.
Yeah, it's Nintendo.
Loki Lover 35, hey from Cleveland.
Hello, Cleveland. Hello, PETA. That's a very old Family Guy reference.
And these ones are about turning up the mic.
Yeah.
And then panel. Going for unique questions. Yeah, I like Sam Cedar, so like the Majority Report, and then I like TYT, but okay.
That one was specifically like, hey, Jimmy's partner that I don't know how to spell your name. I hope this question isn't online.
Joshua, I don't want to butcher your last name.
Shouter, I think.
Shouter.
Yeah.
Hope this
I go for it.
You're brave, more brave than I am. Hope this question isn't out of line.
You could have just like let her say, I don't know how to say it, and gone on from there. But again, Mormon man energy.
I lost a friendship with a gay conservative Trump supporting Mormon. Not really a question, but I'm interested in your commentary. You are both awesome.
I think we're pretty similar, except for I'm more forgiving a person than you are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I talk about this in therapy. I can really hold a grudge.
Is he like usually more forgiving, or is he like just convincing himself that he's more forgiving because of like this whole situation with Gabby Hanna? Because I'm a pretty forgiving person. Like I will, I have friends on like kind of a range of political spectrum. I will say that there are certain absolutes that I'm not going to get into what that is, but there's certain things where I'm just like, no, like, no. But I agree to disagree on like a lot of things, or I can find things to agree on. Like, for instance, like things with minimum wage. I think like everybody can agree that like the situation that we're in with like minimum wage and inflation is not a good situation. We need to find a solution, and we can't just like keep going with the problem that we're that we have. That's So I am all about like finding the common ground. My question is he like actually finding the common ground, or is he just convincing himself that he is finding the common ground because everybody keeps like attacking him for like this situation with Creepshow art? Like, for those of you who aren't familiar with that, I'm probably going to talk about it like later this week, just because there's somebody who's claiming that Creepshow art has like come back after being canceled. But like that, it's like, can you agree to disagree? And there's certain creators who are like, hey, like like let bygones be bygones, let it be water under the bridge. This is ancient history, even though it's like just coming up now that it's shit from 8 years ago. Like, this is shit from 8 months ago. Yes and no. There's, you got it. You have your own personal line in the sand. I kind of had a discussion with somebody in a YouTube comment section the other day where I was saying, hey, this one particular creator, had a guest on that had like really kind of problematic history, and then I noticed again, it was a creator that I follow very closely and was watching immediately after they had posted their video, and I could see comments that were calling out this guest's problematic behavior in the past immediately like disappearing within there had been like a few for like 10 minutes, and then like a clump of them all kind of disappeared at once, and I had said, hey, is there, some word that they're now highlighting to, disappear these from the comments, or, it's something like that. And somebody said, well, I don't have a problem with a creator policing the comments. And to be fair, I don't necessarily have a creator policing the comments. I delete comments all the time. If people are harassing in the chat, I'll block you in the chat. If people are leaving bot comments and stuff on the YouTube channel, I will delete those comments. If it is bullying or attacking somebody, not just attacking their views, but attacking them, like ad hominem attacks, that type of thing, I will delete those comments. And depending on if it's a repeat offender, I might block them. That is one thing, but saying anybody who brings up this difference of opinion, I'm deleting that comment, is different to me, right? So, yes, I do believe that it is that creator space to decide, you know, you can turn off comments or whatever. But, and I feel like, okay, if it's really the type of thing where you're like literally like deleting dozens of comments, just turn off comments. And I know that that like limits your interaction and you're not necessarily going to get as many views, but like to me, that shows more integrity. It's just saying, okay, you know what? Rather than deleting comments, I'm just going to turn off comments. And actually, that's what Jimmy did on his video, where he addressed all of these things with Gabby Hanna and Rachel Oates. He ended up turning off the dislike to like ratio and turning off comments on it. But he did leave the video up, and I feel like that in some ways shows integrity. Again, give credit where credit is due. I think he was a bad friend. Obviously, to Rachel, in my opinion. I think that he was a bad friend. I think that he is starting to sort of like regress to like Mormon type ways, even if he's not necessarily regressing to Mormonism. I don't know if there's a certain type of influence in his life or something like that. He did say that he's moving, so maybe it's some type of influence like that. But he does seem like there is more this misogynistic type attitude that I'm seeing from him more and more. Unfortunately, that I feel like I didn't see a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So yeah, that's why I'm going to be removing my Patreon support.
I've like really never had any conservative friends, even when I was conservative, and like my family like is conservative, but my dad's an atheist.
I did.
And my mom's a Christian. I was never told I was going to hell.
I still do.
Some of my siblings are bisexual. No one cared. So I had like kind of more of a liberal upbringing. The only thing was like I lost a friend that was really religious. That was a good friend of mine like 2 years ago because I stopped being a Christian, and that was like really hard because I was like I thought I was this great friend to you. Now because I'm an atheist, I'm like this evil person, and that was really painful. But you kind of learn to cope.
That sounds shitty. Luckily, I've never had to deal with that. I have lost a friendship here recently where it was like I had to stand up for my own morals, and because of that, I lost a friendship, and it's hard. To like lose a friendship over differences in values. It really, because it's like there can be that rift where it's like there's no repairing it. Sorry, like there's no, like I'm not wavering from my views and you're not wavering from your views, and so there's no meeting table that we can meet at. And it sucks.
Open, move on. But that's really the only thing I've had.
Yeah. What an interesting combo, though. Like, gay, conservative, Trump-supporting Mormon. First of all, as far as being a gay Mormon, they're not in good standings with the church if they actually operate in any gay ways, if they actually live any kind of quote-unquote gay lifestyle, because the Mormon church doesn't let you. So it's kind of like, either they are, I acknowledge that I'm gay, but I live a life of celibacy Mormon, or they are basically not a Mormon or a Mormon in good standing. But then, yeah, I still have conservative Trump-supporting friends.
So those of you who don't know, my partner was raised Mormon and had Mormon family and lived with Mormon family that was in quote unquote good standing while they were in communication with them, and openly bisexual at the time. I think she identifies as pansexual now, but she identified as bisexual at the time, was living in a same-sex relationship, and like her family was still in good standing with the church. So I'm not sure if maybe that has changed since he's left the church, or maybe that has changed since my spouse left the church. I'm not really sure, but I don't know how accurate that is or was.
Can't say that I know any of them to be gay, but I know I have conservative Trump supporting friends. I think it's great for people to try to be friends with people. Basically, again, my barrier is...
Again, the Mormon church has like a lot of issues. I'm just saying, like, I don't necessarily know that like, oh, you and your family all get shunned because like you enjoy same-sex intercourse. Like,
Can I be honest with you? Especially because I almost have a mental condition that prevents me from not being honest with people. I mean, I can withhold saying things, but as far as what I say, it's going to be what I think, and I don't really understand the filters that people use and the way they use it.
Is that true though? Because earlier you were talking about making up stories.
Though I've learned some of them, and will use them because I'm told I'm supposed to, not because I think they make any sense. I think it is great to be friends with. I think everybody, no matter how shitty they are, until they literally are murdering people, or I guess a few other very heinous crimes, deserves to have good friends. In fact, there are probably murderers that deserve to have good people as friends. And so that's my...
Okay, like I won't disagree that like there might be some people who are like have been put away for murder that are like guilty of those crimes that like are deserving of good friends because like they have made changes. I don't necessarily know if I'm like the person who is should be friends with them because like I couldn't. um so an example of this is somebody that I know who their family member was put in prison for not murder, but a pretty heinous crime. And it's been literally 40 years, I think. And the person that I know is now good friends with them and would say that the that ex-con, I would say my acquaintance is that ex-con's best friend. Do I think that that ex-con is not deserving of that? No, but like she has made strides and steps and shown remorse and everything else associated with like showing that that's not something that she's going to repeat in the future. And I feel like that has to play into it a lot. Like if you are friends with somebody who like does kind of jerky things but like they show no remorse and they're like they have no intention of ever changing doing those jerky things and think that like, oh, you know, I say this like kind of racist thing and I'm just going to keep saying this kind of racist thing forever even if I get educated and learn like why it's racist and why it's hurtful. No. No, I'm not going to be friends with you. But like if you said that kind of racist thing and then like I explained why that's racist or why that's hurtful, an example would be actually here you go, the R word. Somebody who is a very important figure in my life when I first met them, they used the R word. And as somebody who grew up with certain mental illness, learning disability, like I like that hit home. That hit hard. And I was like, yo, don't use that word around me. Like, I'm not going to like police your vocabulary, but like, do not use that word around me. And I explained why that was hurtful. And it was not immediately changed, but I could see them making efforts to like remove it from their vocabulary. And now they're in a place where they don't use that word in their vocabulary. I could see that change happening. If I had said, hey, don't use that word, and I explained why, and they were like, oh, well, I'm just going to use it anyway, I would have been like, okay, well, like, we're not going to be friends now. I'm just going to, like, stop associating with you. Like, there's a difference, in my opinion, between people who do jerky things continuously and people who have done jerky things and are now making amends.
My personal philosophy on life, I know it's angered a lot of people recently. The biggest thing is that my personal philosophies come from books and people I admire, like Daryl Davis, like Dr. King, like Gandhi, as cliche as these examples are to give. But the places my philosophy on friendships, relationships, social dynamics don't come from, definitely not Becky with a drama channel. You know, that is not who I.
Yeah, I think you have like a high.
So he is talking about Gabby Hanna. Like, okay, but like actually, like do your research and see like what these people are actually talking about. Like, watch one of the drama channels, at least see what their evidence is. Read a synopsis.
Higher tolerance policy than I do. I don't know if I could be someone that's like a Trump supporter. The only people I know are like some members of my family. I have friends that are Christian, but they're like liberal Christians and it works, but that's just a difference.
Whereas I'm like, as long as I can tell you how disgusting I think your beliefs are, like I said, I can be, if I can say to you like, hey, that's racist or that's sexist or that's homophobic or whatever, and we can get past when I'm going to voice those things, or have whatever level of argument or debate. Like I said, I can be friends with anyone. Oh, it looks like we're gonna finally get to open our first.
Yeah, no, I can't be friends. Like you're racist and you're not willing to make that change. Like I can't be friends with you. Like that's not. And I don't know why you would be.
First pack of Pokemon cards soon, because
Nice.
reminder, we're gonna open packs of Pokemon cards every time somebody super chats $20 or more. The Squirrel Slapper is back, slapping more squirrels. For the record, in a place where they're like that's overrun with squirrels, and you're like,
No.
God, get in some cats.
But every time I go to the park and I have goldfish, I always like feed them.
I mean,
No, you're not supposed to, but
I grew up around ranchers. At one point, worked on a ranch.
Side note, where I went to school, there was a girl who went there before me, not the same year as me, but she went there before me, and she lost a finger, actually more than one finger, feeding squirrels. It was a granola bar. She like tried to feed one squirrel and a bunch of squirrels swarmed her and like, yeah, lost fingers over it. Lose a digit. Don't do it.
And prairie dogs are basically just land squirrels without a tail. And that's like, I'll say I have pretty negative memories of myself where I'm like,
I love prairie
where I was
dogs.
like, all right, guys, today we got to go out and, if we don't kill at least
I
200
also have a
prairie
prairie
dogs,
dog
this is gonna get out of
story,
hand. That's not my favorite. Those aren't my favorite
don't have
memories
time
with
for
my
it
current day values. Though back then values.
I don't think we're going to
thought it
get
was
through this
lots of
whole
fun.
thing.
Yeah, that just reminds me of a quick story. My mom told me that like when
I'll
she
try to get to the
and her family
halfway
moved here from
point.
California, my aunt saw a black squirrel and she goes, "Oh my God, that squirrel was in a fire!" I'm just like, come on, use your brain.
This is a fun one.
That is a really funny story. It took me a second because my brain was elsewhere. I had to be like, wait. Her aunt saw a black squirrel and thought that it was a squirrel that was in a fire. Like it was all covered in soot, or like its hair was burnt, or like what? Like, oh my god. This is gonna make me cry.
What's something you love that I can't stand?
Oh, am I
Me.
I'm sorry, I
answering
want to
it
like
for
write
you?
that one down, but
You love me, and
Okay.
I can't stand
I'm
myself.
People are gonna hate me for this, but that really horrible comedy show you
Oh my God.
that I hate. What
I swear to God, I did not know that she answered this question this way. Oh my God. I also kind of hate it, Jimmy. I'm sorry. Like, I don't like hate it. Like, apparently it sounds like your girlfriend hates it more than I do. Because it's kind of growing on me a little bit. But like, I kind of hate the way that you were like mean to people about like basically like forcing people to watch it, especially early on when it wasn't that good. Like you like made me watch it when I didn't really want to watch it, and then I was like, no, I don't like this, and it took me a while to like come back to it. Sorry, side tangent about the Sometime Show.
is it called? I think you should leave. I
Yeah.
hate it. I'm sorry. I hate everything about it.
I've tried to like get her to like it one sketch at a time, and okay, so it's not controversial to say you're stubborn, right? On air, are you gonna pretend that's not true?
It's just not good. I'm not even being stubborn.
I know, but but can we acknowledge that at times you are stubborn?
Cannot confirm nor deny.
And I think there's a chance, and I have way more character flaws than her, for the record, but I think there's a chance that
Well,
she
it's gonna
decided to
recognize
hate
that.
it based on one sketch, and so now she won't like any of
It's
them.
just not funny to me.
It's so
It's not.
I'm so excited for it because I love the show. Like I love everybody else, but to anyone who's actually seen the sketch, it's like one of the funniest.
I'm really trying to get him
Yeah,
to watch
they're
all
just
the
gonna, like,
seasons
talk
of
about
90 Day
stupid
Fiancé, but he's like,
Yeah.
this is fake, that is fake, and I'm like, Jimmy, just enjoy it.
It's so obvious how much of the conflicts are staged.
I love
because
that show.
Okay, yeah, 90 Day Fiancé, like a lot of it is staged, a lot of it is like shit that happened off camera, and then the producers are like, hey, can you like just basically reconstruct that conversation, and like we're gonna like do it where like we can shoot, and so like basically how did that conversation go? Okay, we're gonna write it down, and then like those are your lines, but it's like based on how well do they even like remember what happened versus like how good of actors they are, et cetera, et cetera. Like I think my understanding of it is that they don't actually like make up complete entire scenarios for that show, but they do like have them like recreate their own scenarios. So like they're not hiring an actor to be like, oh, here's the thing that happened, but like they're having them act out the thing that happened. If that makes sense.
Show.
basically, look, if you're watching reality TV and at some point early in the episode, they say they worry about this obscure thing becoming a problem, and then later in the episode it happens to happen, that is all staged, prepped bullshit.
I still love it.
No, that's not actually necessarily the case. So the interviews that they do, like this is what's happening now, and it's like they're talking about it in present tense, but it's like a side interview, like I think on Survivor it's called like the confessional or something. Maybe that's Big Brother. I don't know. I don't watch any of those shows. Like I've seen them in passing. I don't mean that like, oh, I don't watch any of those shows. I'm not like opposed to any of them. But my understanding, and again, this is like based on like having dated somebody who worked in Hollywood and stuff, and like just kind of knowing that kind of behind the scenes of it. I don't know anything like professionally or otherwise, but this is my understanding. So allegedly, don't sue me. It's like everything has already happened, that they are like kind of filming alongside of it, but then they have them talk about past events in the present tense. So like, okay, put yourself back in the mindset of when you went into the doctor's office, now what's happening? And okay, well, I go in and you know, I'm concerned about this happening or whatever. Um, it might be something that it's like, oh, that weird, like randomly obscure thing happened later on that like you wouldn't necessarily even put words to your worry about it. But then like it did actually come true happening. So like the fact that you worried about it is significant. And then they splice it together and it's like you know have them saying I worried about this before it comes true, and it does seem like it's kind of staged. It's not to say it's not a little bit staged. There are things that it's like, oh, they set this thing up or whatever. I think we've all seen like Dance Moms where it's like there's no like dance troupe that actually like competes like that on a regular basis as like part of their like regular dance season. You know, it's not like that. But as far as like, oh, they like gave these people lines on a like 90 Day Fiance, like no, like these people are actually married, and yes, it is like a like they you know set the whole scenario up and everything, but it's not like, oh, here's your lines, go do action.
But my biggest problem with that show isn't that, because I am kind of invested after a little bit. My biggest problem with the show isn't the stage part; it's how long they take to do everything. I really think a whole season could be adequately done and interesting in 2 hours.
Yeah, but they have to
And
stretch it out for Candy's season. I just want to be able to send him the 90-day memes and he'll understand them. But there's like,
And like you stretched out for like a week, like teasing this relationship, and like we didn't know the gender of your partner, et cetera, et cetera. So whatever.
so many seasons and spin-offs. It's going to take a long time.
I'm also horrified
Like you hate it, but you do it.
by how little they pay the people who participate.
I think it's
'Cause
like
it works.
$500
It's not a
or
lot at all
something.
per episode, maybe.
It's very low.
And you're literally just like
They pay the SAG-AFTRA minimum.
looking at some of these people where you're like, you're having that experience of, personally, I think it would be humiliating to tell millions of people something like, my phone got shut off because I bought my wedding dress and I couldn't afford both. And so like, just with like Danielle and Muhammad, how
That's the season we're
humiliating,
on.
how
Yeah.
humiliating some of the stuff they've done in front of the camera is. And they're not, Muhammad ended up being homeless after that for a while,
Yeah.
like trying to become a trucker. He might be homeless now. And it's literally just like, holy crap, you guys made millions off of these people.
Is he homeless or does he live in his truck? Because like I dated a guy who like lived in an RV, and like people would be like, "Oh, he's homeless," but like he wasn't homeless. Like he had a home. It was an RV.
And you didn't give them enough for anything.
Yeah, I guess the only thing is a lot of them like
Like van life and homelessness are two different things. Creepshow art needs to learn that too. Like her saying like, "Oh, I was literally homeless," when it was like, "No, you were living in your van."
have grown a following after and do brand deals, so that's the only thing. But yeah,
Yeah,
they,
the
Like if you make a choice to do it, it's not the same as being homeless. Just saying, people who are in like utter like homelessness out of poverty, like it's not a choice. They don't like they can't just say, you know what, fuck this. I'm like gonna go live in a place with a regular roof over my head and a regular, you know, 4 walls and a bed. No, they can't. People who are living in a van, it's different.
hot ones.
they did not. No, even some of the ones that maybe aren't as attractive still have like 200,000 followers.
Well, that's
Look at
at least
Colt.
something. But are
He's
they
the
actually
worst.
making good money off it? Because like,
I don't know. I agree. They don't get paid.
I have like 2 copies of this, by the way, like on my screen because it's a really wide screen. I don't know like which way I should be looking. 'Cause neither of those like really directly by the camera, but that's okay.
They're compensated well, but at least they're kind of something.
but then some of them you don't want to get paid well. What was the name of the guy? He married the woman from Brazil, Dale or something, maybe?
I don't remember.
There's just something about him where I'm just like, you have clan robes at home somewhere, don't you?
Oh, the guy in Florida with the
yeah,
Colombian
yeah, yeah.
girl.
No, she's from
Oh, this
Colombia or
is just
Brazil?
90 Day
Remember
Fiance
one
I
stuff.
think she's from Brazil, and the other there is a
he
Colombian.
lives
lady.
I actually don't
That's
watch
our-
90
the
Day
people where
Fiancé.
like
I've
the
just-
people that your bigoted part of your brain goes like, oh, really attractive woman with a guy like that. This is just for a green card, but it usually isn't them. It seems like the women are usually like actually trying to like. Can't
My
stand.
weird things.
Something that you love that I can't. I mean, a lot of the things that you're passionate about, I think, are exciting, but I don't.
Have an interest.
Yeah, like plants, I don't have an interest in.
Yeah.
But like your furniture restoration stuff is something that I could see myself even once I get a wood shop one day that I want so bad.
So you're not answering the
participating in.
Projects
Yeah.
together.
You're more into
Oh,
like
he's answering the
dark
question for
horror
her.
stuff like photos.
You know,
and
I
things
understand
than
that,
I am.
though.
I like
like,
oddities a lot,
getting
like
both sides of
animal
it.
bones, framed
Yeah.
insects, blood
Framed
paintings.
insects I like though.
Yeah.
Those are cool.
I have a nice collection of framed.
Can we tell the story of what you wanted me to steal that one time?
Yes.
Okay.
I still regret it.
So we're not going to talk about the details of why this is the case, but we were at a medical appointment, and it was becoming clear that these vials of blood, that because they hadn't been labeled, they weren't going to be tested.
Yeah.
And they basically said that, like, oh man, what a shame that nobody labeled those because we took that blood out of you. And it was Michelle's blood, and she kept like hinting. And I was like,
Just
should
do
I?
it.
Because I'll just do it. And I was like, I don't know, maybe. Anyway, she really wished I had
There are
stolen.
3 huge vials of my blood, and I
Yeah.
want them back.
Yeah.
I would have taken them. If it was like obvious that they were gonna get like pitched, I would have taken them. It's my blood.
Give them back. You also took.
Actually, I would have asked. I would have been like, oh, well, that's my blood. Can I have it?
Everyone who misses the hair, just know that Michelle doesn't have to miss my long hair because she has it.
I have a lock of his hair in a bag that I joke that I'm gonna put on a voodoo doll.
Joke. You were looking up voodoo dolls. Joke.
Like, he doesn't believe in voodoo, though. Like, he's very, again, not every atheist, like, doesn't believe in voodoo, but, like, he's very explicitly said that he doesn't, like, believe in any of that stuff. So, like, if you don't believe in voodoo dolls, what do you care about if she puts it on a voodoo doll?
Joke that you're gonna put them on a
That'd be
voodoo
so
doll.
fun to have in my house.
I'm trying to think of anything else.
Yeah, like, if it's just, like, an oddity thing where it's, like, I just, like, it sounds like she just likes oddity, weird stuff. She likes skeletons and stuff like that. Like, I'm the same way. Like, if it was just, like, a voodoo doll, well, okay, like, I actually have, like, kind of different feelings about, like, the energies and stuff like that. But, so I probably wouldn't keep a voodoo doll unless it was, like, literally, like, a positive voodoo doll that was like, hey, like, I made this as, like, a good voodoo doll for you. Like, then I would keep it. But, yeah, like, if it was just, like, she wanted to do it for, like, an oddity, like, why do you care?
That you like that I like really don't like.
You don't like metal music?
Yeah, that's true. I like some metal, but not what you like. Black death metal or whatever it's called.
Yeah, black and death metal.
Yeah. I like Leo.
I love that for her. For those of you who don't know, I don't like black death metal, but I do enjoy some kind of overwhelming music is what I would call it. Like, as somebody who gets like overstimulated, sometimes if I like have music that's like literally just like overstimulating in a musical way, then it's like almost focusing. I don't know how to explain it, but that Cinderella, like, Nobody's Fool shirt that I wear, like, that's an album that I listen to. Like, I had to like work with my Amazon dot. I'm not gonna say her name because I don't want to like upset y'all's Amazon devices at home, but I had to like train her to be like, hey, this is Cinderella the band. This is Disney music, and I don't like no. don't like when it's like, hey, play Cinderella, like this is not what I mean. Ooh, I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to get to halfway because I am having small bladder issues. But we're gonna have to like do the other half of this tomorrow, maybe. Sheesh. I was gonna stream on my other channel tomorrow, but we'll see. Maybe I'll be able to do both.
Moricelli, or how do you say his name?
I'm gonna get to a natural breaking point, and
metal
then
covers
we're
of
gonna
pop
stop
songs.
for today.
I like him. You don't like scooting.
I am a skateboarder, and it just feels like I'm betraying my people to ride a scooter.
Though the time I got it,
So now we're flipping the script and saying things that he likes that she can't stand. Is that right?
Like
to try
against
it,
everything we believe in.
she did like it.
I have been on a Lime scooter. It is fun.
But you
But
were on my scooter too.
I have. It just
Yeah.
feels dirty.
They're so much fun, and I told her like, hey, at some point, I'm hoping to get another scooter because there's one coming out
I used
that
to
I
ride
feel
a
like will
scooter.
support my weight a little bit. Anyway, I was like, there's this new one coming out, and then I was like, instead of selling the other one, maybe I'll just keep it so we can go on scoots together. So right now I'm trying to get her to do
Scoots.
scoots with me. I'm hoping for a future where we
Keyword trying.
I'm hoping for a future
Go
where we
on
can
scoots
vlog
together.
our
Oh
scoots.
my god, no.
Anything else you can think of before we do the next one?
No, you can go to the next. Will you read them? My voice is
Yeah,
failing me.
I can. That's at some point you guys will probably hear her again and be like, oh, I didn't really hear her voice the first time.
Yeah.
Because yours, it's close, but it's scratchier than. Zach the Quack says creepy breathing ASMR is different from like stormy night sleep ASMR. I'm gonna take your word for that. Zach is completely right. I'm willing to bet money on it.
Yeah, ASMR is like a whole huge
Elizabeth Chris
spectrum.
says health and mental health are so hard and complicated. How can people connect and have relationships in this?
Okay, I'm gonna stop before they get to this one because like this is definitely gonna be like a whole huge answer, and I'm just gonna like call this a natural breaking point. Because yeah, ASMR definitely can be like a whole spectrum of different things. He's not gonna talk about it, but like that's okay. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about it tomorrow in a like Red Explains a Thing segment. I don't know. We'll see. But I am gonna have to run. Let me see. I'm going to try and flip over to, here we go, my stream manager. And let me see if there's anybody available to raid. Ooh, Critter Vision is back on. It looks like they only have 54 viewers. Now, they were having a little bit of issue with like the cameras in the area that they were in. They couldn't put feeders out for a while. So, I think they may or may not have critters out, but it looks like Zakayla is on doing crafters and making. What is she working on today? You guys are gonna hear it a little bit. No, okay, good. It's muted. I might pull her up and see. It's gonna give me a ad, so it'll take a minute because it just says
Said
practice
on
is
everything,
making.
man. Look at that, 3 of them.
So, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mute that fast enough. Let's see what we got. Oh, she is doing some stream raiders. I don't have time to do stream raiders today. What is her stream title though? Oh, sewing and cross stitch. Yeah, let's send you over to her. It looks like I've only got one person with me. But that's okay. Well, maybe two. Maybe two. But I'm gonna send you over to Zakayla. And I'll hang out for just a minute, but then I have to, like I said, I have to run to the bathroom and stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really do appreciate it. As always, you could be doing anything else in the world and you chose to spend your time with me. So I really do appreciate it. If today is your birthday, I want to wish you a very happy birthday. Either way, I hope that you make it a good one. I don't have my outro slides in this little, in this little folder that I have here today, but yeah, I don't even have my regular ones, but that's okay. I'll switch back to this one as I send you off. For those of you who are coming along with us on the raid, this is your reminder to keep your arms and legs inside of the vehicle at all times while the ride is in motion until it comes to a full and complete stop. Failure to do so